Xbox game demos have been a thing for a while, and somehow I completely missed this, and I have been pushing for game demos to be something that Xbox uses within the Game Pass ecosystem, actually pushing more for game trials. And I think anybody that sort of looks at this, I think you could look at the way they're setting it up, and maybe they're testing something. Maybe they don't want it to be in the front and center part of Xbox. You can't really blame me for not finding this. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to put all the good information right here at the beginning of the video. They've been doing these demo events, and it has me theorizing that they may be testing something out. So if you want to be here for these discussions, make sure that you hit subscribe and the bell button so that way you don't miss out on the content, because I front load it right here at the beginning so you don't have to watch the entire live stream. So Xbox game demos are showing up as part of ID at Xbox events, and a recent GDC 2023 announcement made me do some digging. I was like, wait a minute, why are they doing a demo event? I've been saying, hey, I think demos should come back. I hearkened back to the Xbox arcade days, and Xbox arcade demos were something that my wife and I used all of the time. Many people will try to tell you that I lean really heavily Sony, but historically, I have way more experience and a backlog on the Xbox ecosystem, and that's why I thought, man, demos should make a comeback. Well, maybe they are, but maybe they aren't. They've actually been doing this for quite a while, and I want to look at a handful of things because I'm surprised that I missed this. Number one, I want to look at the demo events, the Xbox game demo events. When did they start? What do they entail? Is it linked to Game Pass in any way? The second thing I want to look at is finding demos on the Xbox is awkward. I actually have my Xbox turned on. I will show you guys how this works, how you can find them, and why I think it's a bit strange how they have it placed on the ecosystem as well as the Xbox store. Then I want to examine how ID at Xbox and Xbox Game Pass could work together, because I've been continuing to say that I think a price increase is coming, and this could be a great way to increase value. So first, let's just look at the game demo events. Then you can go to the official Xbox News blog where they post these, and you can search for demos or demo events. Do your own research. I'm not making this up. They've been doing this since the summer of 2020. They started with the Summer Game Fest in the summer of 2020, doing what they call a demo event. Now, it seems to come out in a cadence in the summer, and then they do a winter demo event. Now, this GDC one is a little bit different. They're calling it online demo event. These are games that are focusing more on the online. Now, the demo event only runs for a short period of time, so these demos don't stay in the category. There are some games in there that just push out a demo and you can play it anytime you want, like the Resident Evil demo and other games that provide their own. That's not Xbox initiated. That's just something that some developers do. The main theme seems to be ID at Xbox showing off indie titles that will be launching soon. Now, some of those, they end up being demos later, even after the game launches, to give people a chance to try the game out. And I could only find one that landed on Game Pass. I checked the last 3 game demo events. I didn't check every single one because it was kind of a headache, because you had to cross-reference their blog with the Game Pass library, and the Game Pass library is huge. So I looked at the last 3, and then the only one that actually came to Game Pass was Tinykin. So it doesn't seem like they're using this as a testing ground or as some kind of a way to like promote Game Pass. They don't seem to be linked at the moment. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't going to be links in the future. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be more demos and more games that land on Game Pass. I'm not saying there's a clear separation, but there certainly was not a trend. This led me to sort of search, how exactly did demos show up on the Xbox ecosystem? Where do you go to find these, okay? The web page for demos is basically any game that currently has a demo available. Most of these appear to be demos provided by the developer, and they're not tied to any Xbox initiative. They typically have their own artwork submitted with the word demo on it, or one of them I think even said like trial version. So this is something that the actual developers initiate. These demos are available typically on all platforms because they want people to have an opportunity to play their game, like we saw with the Resident Evil 4 demo. Now keep in mind, this is completely distinct from a game trial like we get on PlayStation Plus Premium. PlayStation Plus Premium offers you a limited time trial in the full install of the game, because they're saying, hey, you're at the highest echelon. Any game at $39.99 or higher, you can play for a certain amount of time. For example, if you're a PS Plus Premium subscriber, you can play Horizon Forbidden West for like 5 hours. Well, I think now it's on PS Plus. But prior to that, when you use the trial, it was like you could play for like 5 hours. That's not a demo, that's a trial. I know that's confusing. Sometimes people use these words interchangeably. These are not trials. Demos are typically provided as slices of the game. It requires the developer to ship something extra, which then needs to be tested, and that's why many have moved away from doing it on a regular basis, because it is extra development time. I have been saying an endemic trial system would be very good for Game Pass, because I've continued to say I think Xbox Game Pass could stand to foster an ecosystem of purchase, because right now we don't know yet. We're hoping that the FTC, with their motion to compel, I would love to see the documents that would point to the relationship between subscription-based gaming and buy-to-play gaming, but we'll wait to see if those documents come out. Now, going from the website, I thought, okay, how does it show up on the Xbox? It's really awkward. I'm going to be honest with you. Its placement on the Xbox is strange. The official blogs from Xbox actually have to give you instructions about how to find the demos, because they are not in the store in a category that's public. They are in a category, but it's not something you can just go click on, okay? The actual instructions tell you to do what I have done right here. You go to search and you type the word demos. You literally type the word demos, and then it pops up as a category next to all these shows and stuff. So this is something that I think is a little strange, a little odd. Maybe this has to do with the fact that they don't want this front and center. Maybe they don't want this to detract from or confuse people who love Game Pass. So once you click on it, I think it gets even a little bit more interesting. You can see at the top, it says game demos, and it says Skur Ritual demo. And I mean, there is just pages upon pages of demos here. Again, I don't know how I missed this, but it's easy to miss. None of this is front and center. You have big games like Immortals Phoenix Rising in here, Little Nightmares 2. There are so many games in here. Now, again, keep in mind, these are not something necessarily that has been initiated by Xbox. Many of these, see how it has the word demo on the actual artwork. That means that this is likely something that was submitted by the developers themselves, but it's like off to the side. So you end up in this category, and it feels like a holding container that maybe they don't want front and center, or maybe they're testing this out, because this could be, I think, a wonderful aspect of Game Pass. I push for this. I think Game Pass is great value, but I think Game Pass could serve more purposes than just giving games away on a subscription service, because game demos, game trials, early access, these are ways to keep people on Game Pass. I think something that's going to be a challenge long term for Xbox. I literally went to the Xbox Game Pass splash page on my web browser, and right there, smacking me in the eyes before I was even logged in, was sign up for Game Pass for $1. Getting people in the door for $1 who can then cancel it later because they wait until a bunch of your big games come out. Like if you wait for Redfall and then wait for Starfield, you can play two of the biggest launches on the Xbox ecosystem for $1. Obviously, you would hope that people would want to play Starfield for a little bit longer than a month, but again, I would think you'd want to make it sticky, hard to leave. If you look at cable companies trying to get you to sign up for phone service, well, it's because the more services you have with them, the harder it is to cancel. I think Game Pass could approach it in a similar way. The more benefits they give you, the harder it is going to be for you to cancel it. You're going to want to stay in there. With a few years of these demo events, it might be time to consider taking ID at Xbox and Game Pass and bringing them together. That's this next section of the video. ID at Xbox and Game Pass. In E3 2019, I sat down with the head of ID at Xbox and interviewed him. And it was actually very cool to see their efforts and their passion for indie titles. That's what ID at Xbox is all about. Something that Game Pass commonly gets criticism for is lack of games. I often don't think this is a precise enough criticism because Xbox Game Pass gets games all the time. The issue is not that they don't get games. It's mostly indie titles and has been for quite a while. Ordinarily, I don't think this would be a problem. Microsoft has just been struggling with cadence of games. My common criticism has never been they don't have any games or Game Pass doesn't have any games worth playing. Many of those indie titles that have been landing there have been excellent. And then you have obviously big, great games that really kind of landed and shocked the world like Hi-Fi Rush, but you can't constantly live off of those smaller titles. Those titles, I think, are good, but we need that better cadence of first party. If the ABK deal goes through, I think that will empower Microsoft to hit a better cadence of games, but then what are you going to do with all those indie titles? This is where ID at Xbox and these game demos could come into play. We've already discussed how Game Pass pricing will likely increase at some point, I think final quarter of this year. All subscription service prices are going up, so I'm not singling out Game Pass. I have speculated they're actually going to use the Xbox showcase in June to announce big changes for Game Pass, and this will enable them, I think, they could couch the price increase alongside value and feature ads. You could say, hey, we're starting to work with ID at Xbox. We're going to bring them together. And this would create a hierarchy within the games that land on Game Pass. You could say, listen, ID at Xbox is joining forces with Game Pass to bring more games to Game Pass subscribers, but you use demos to do it. This creates a division between the really, really big games that you get, like Starfield. Once the ABK deal goes through, maybe even bigger titles start showing up on Game Pass. This would help to foster that ecosystem of purchase. It would potentially assist Xbox with the regulators wanting to look at the relationship between subscription gaming and buy-to-play game sales. They could say, listen, we actually have a plan to make adjustments. We have all this data. We've done these demo events, and we've seen that have an impact on game purchases. That's something to consider when they're trying to buy such a large portion of the market. Are you going to suddenly shrink revenue footprints and revenue funnels for games when you throw them on Game Pass? Because Starfield, if it was a multi-platform title and was being sold everywhere instead of being on Game Pass, it would likely generate a significant more amount of revenue. The amount of people signing up for Game Pass likely won't be equal to that at all, not even close. And when so many people could sign up for $1 or just do $10 and cancel later, this would be a way to say, hey, there's plenty of reasons to stay on Game Pass. Regardless of how you couch it, I think adding more places for ID at Xbox games and game demos to show up would be better. I really do think back to those days where my wife and I would download Xbox arcade demos, and we bought a lot of games because of that. I would also like to see more intentionality brought to how game demos show up on the platform. Having to go and search for it is just kind of weird. Every time they do one of these events, the blog has to walk you through, open up the store, go to search, type demos, click on demos. Why wouldn't you just say go to the storefront and click on demos? That does seem a bit strange. The more informed consumers are being able to play something before buying it, the happy they are with their purchases, and I think that is a better situation. So let me give you my thoughts and my conclusions. Number one, demos have been a focus for Xbox through ID at Xbox since mid-2020, but they don't seem to want them front and center on the ecosystem. At one level, I think this makes sense because the big focus on Game Pass the last few years, you don't want to distract from that by focusing on demos or games that you can play and not really buy, or game demos that stop at a certain point. I think that might frustrate people who are accustomed to Game Pass being like, here's the game, play as much as you want. right? It could also be a great way, I think, to organize, silo, and test how do players respond to game demos. Does it lead to purchases, especially for indie titles? I don't necessarily know if indie titles are always a good fit for Game Pass. Obviously, the nice big check from Microsoft is good, but when games sort of go viral, you have to wonder. You have a game like Death's Door that sold 100,000 copies in its first week on Steam. Some of these little titles can have a breakout and make tons of money, and when it's a smaller team, those sales end up being far greater probably than any check they're going to get. Number two, the second thing I want to say is Game Pass and ID at Xbox games and game demos could be a great value add to coincide with price increases to Game Pass. It could also slowly help foster an ecosystem where people are purchasing games because they're feeling more empowered to try them. A common theme that I hear from players who love Game Pass is they will say, I try tons of games that I ordinarily would never have tried. That's great, but that doesn't necessarily communicate money or revenue or success to an indie game. What would communicate revenue and success would be, hey, this game is an absolute hit. Everybody go try the demo. You're going to love it. And then all those people would say, I did, and then I bought it. You know, indie titles usually range from $20 to $30. That's a little bit of an easier purchase conversion. That's another great reason for this hierarchy is you would be constantly feeding people demos for games that are not that expensive, and then the bigger, more expensive titles would be adding that value of, hey, you didn't have to buy Starfield. It was day and date on Game Pass. None of this has anything to do with my other ideas about how Game Pass can change and the way forward for Game Pass. I've got 2 talk shows about that if you want to go watch them. So here's my conclusion. I'm shocked that I somehow missed that regular focus on game demos from Xbox has been happening for almost 3 years at a cadence of the summer and then the winter. I can't really be blamed for not seeing this given how they basically hide it in their ecosystem and you have to go through a very specific flow to even find it. This will, I think, lead to a time will tell situation. If we ever see anything like this coming to Game Pass, I think it could be very, very good. I, for one, would welcome the value add. I am a Game Pass subscriber. I have a Series X. Nobody seems to get that or know that. They think I only own a Sony. But this would add value to something I'm already subscribed to. It would lead to more indie devs selling copies of their games sold rather than just being sampled. And that's the show open. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure you're pushing all of the buttons. I was really genuinely surprised. Somebody put this in the Discord, and I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was coming true. I was like, this is something that I said they needed to do. They needed to do game demos. And then Sven was like, this isn't new. They have a whole demo page. And I was like, what? And then I went and researched it on their site, and I was like, they've been doing this since the summer? The summer of 2020? What? Why is it not front and center? Why is it not a part of the storefront? Why do I have to go searching for this? I don't know if they're testing it. I don't know if they view this as something that is not a good idea. Maybe it's sort of secondary. Thank you guys so much for watching over here. Your voice is pitched up on here. Do you have on a voice filter? His voice is at a weird pitch. I didn't change anything. I don't know what's going on. I could try and unplug and plug everything back in. Yeah, I don't know. 5 months from Bulls for Life. Does Game Pass offer free-to-play games without Xbox Live subscription? Well, that's the thing. You don't need necessarily... That was a big change recently. Your mic input on is making your voice high-pitched. I've not changed anything. I mean, I could try and unplug and plug the mic back in. I don't know what that would do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're just not streaming over there today. I got a show to run. I don't need to babysit TikTok. Are they demos or trials? They're demos. Yeah, they're just demos, Eugene. Most of the demos on the page are literally the ones supplied by the developers. You sound the same as always. Yeah, something wrong with TikTok. I'm not messing with it. I don't even like streaming over there that much. Sorry. Having a Game Pass sub includes Xbox Live. Well, you don't have to you don't have to have Xbox Live anymore for free-to-play games. They made that change a while ago. I believe the same is true for PlayStation. You don't need like a subscription. Everybody made that change last year or the year before? I can't remember when that happened, but that was a big complaint that people had. They were like, well, why do I need a subscription, right? Why do I need a subscription if we're, you know, if it's a free-to-play game? So I thought it was a fair thing. You just yeeted the talk. I mean, I don't have time for that. I got a show to run, bro. If your platform or my iPhone's messing up, I'm sorry. I don't have time to mess with it. Maybe I press something, a filter or something. I don't know. Yes, you still need a sub. You need an account. You don't need a sub. That's not true. They made that change a while ago. It was like, I remember this happening. I don't think we covered it, but I remember this happening. It was this big debate about, well, why do I need to pay for anything if it's a free-to-play game? And they removed that requirement. PlayStation has had it for Xbox. Xbox has had it forever. Xbox was the only platform that forced it. Fake news? Oh, you're saying PlayStation had that first where you didn't need a subscription? I thought you needed the PlayStation, whatever it was called, the thing they just got rid of last year when they reallocated everything. I thought you still needed that and they got rid of it. Maybe they got rid of it first. Derek says science hat. At first, I thought this may have been related to change blindness or distraction affected invisibility or schemata, but it sounds more like they just buried it in the UI. Yeah, I saw your comment this morning, and I was like, yeah, it's definitely not change blindness, and it's definitely not distraction affected invisibility. Like, you don't see the thing that's right there because you're looking everywhere else. Look at Fortnite, completely free. PlayStation Internet was free for free-to-play games for forever. Oh, was it really? My son needed a sub to play free-to-play Destiny online. Sony dropped it a long time ago, says Eugene. PS Plus was only for matchmaking online games. Free-to-play or online games you can play alone. Destiny worked without PS Plus. Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I had that incorrect. I thought they both did it around the same time. See, everybody thinks I'm a Sony pony. I was given Xbox the benefit of the doubt. I thought they did it at the same time as Sony. They were late to the party there. But give Xbox credit, they removed that requirement. Guys, make sure you're going through all of the rituals. Make sure you are smashing the like button. Over 400 people here already. We are talking about Xbox game demos. I cannot believe that I missed this. I continue to think that Xbox game demos could be a huge value add. Xbox game trials, actually, could be a huge value add to Xbox Game Pass. I do think we're going to see a price increase this year on Game Pass, and game demos or game trials, even just joining forces with ID at Xbox, could make Xbox Game Pass look quite a bit better. Now you're an Xbox shill. That's right. Yeah, what's good, feed? Yeah, oh no, it's Alex reacted to my Starfield video, and I don't think he realized that I had a Series X. I also don't think he realized it was just a fun theory. He thought I was like desperately trying to argue for Starfield being an exclusive. I was like, this is just a fun theory. I think it's interesting they're using this language. I think it's interesting there's a history with this game that it might end up being exclusive. And he was like, just buy an Xbox, bro. And I was like, I have an Xbox Series X. I'm going to play Starfield on release date. Oh my gosh. I appreciated watching him attempt to understand logic. It was very fun. It was like watching a silverback gorilla try to use a typewriter. It was very fun. Petition to change Sony Pony to book club member. Oh my goodness. When I was a kid, demos were a blessing, but now that I'm grown, I don't see the value in it. Well, I do think demos are great. I think demos are a wonderful way for people to try out a game before buying it. I don't know why you wouldn't use them. I think they're wonderful. I mean, look at the way that people treat Game Pass. People already treat Game Pass like it's a demo funnel anyway, right? They already treat Game Pass like it's a demo funnel. Listen to the way people talk about it. When I did my debate with Doc Dark about Game Pass, him and 30 and Still Gaming both said that. Like, oh, I've tried so many games I wouldn't ordinarily have tried. Did you complete them? Did you beat them? Did you play them all the way to the end? Did you platinum them? Probably not. You tried them out and then you moved on. But that's the beauty of trials. That's the beauty of demos. You could try them out, and if it really hooks you, guess what? Then the developer is rewarded with a purchase for making a good game, and then you're a satisfied consumer. Yo, Whiskey Neat, thanks for jumping back in as a member, guys. Are we going to move this member goal today, or what? I gotta grab this. Are we gonna hit the member goal, or we're gonna have some coffee sales? Let's see it. Who wants to be the first member? Who wants to be the first coffee order? Invite Alex to a debate. I'm pretty sure he would be up for it. I really, you know what? I do want to say this. I don't know if he'll ever see this. This is obviously, my live streams are hard to react to and they're long, but if he ever sees this, I 100% appreciated and respected how he handled the nastiness, because people were like, oh, that's so-and-so. He handled it. I actually have way more respect for him than all of the knuckleheads on Twitter. I was like, well, that was the right way to handle that. Like, he just kind of brushed over it and was like, well, hopefully he's bettered himself and learned from it. And then he just went back to reacting to my video and acting like a meathead. Like, I think he knows he's playing a character. Like, I don't know. I had more respect for him after watching it, even though, you know, he misunderstands my argument and doesn't really argue with what I'm talking about. He tries to project onto me some desperate Sony, you know, copium drinking pony. But that's fine. I don't care. You can do that all day long. That doesn't bother me at all. That doesn't bother me at all. You know, the way he handled it, I thought was admirable, because he's live, he's streaming, and someone drops some article in his lap, and I thought he handled it about as good as he could have. Like how the PlayStation Store on PS5 really does a bad job of showing you the PS Plus tiers and games. It drives me nuts. I don't understand why they bury stuff in the UI. I did a Sony video at the beginning of this year, and I said, what does Sony need to do in 2023? And that was one of the things I said. I said, Sony's UI is terrible. It's terrible. And the PS Plus value, I have a hard time finding stuff. I'm like, why do you guys set it up this way? If you compare the way that Xbox positions Game Pass to the way that Sony positions PS Plus, Xbox wins every time. Xbox wins every time. It's so much better. It's positioned well. You see exactly what's landed. You see exactly what's brand new. Xbox's UI is so far superior. It just is. I can't stand navigating my Sony PlayStation. It's like, I love the games, I love my controller, but when I got to use the UI, I feel like I'm always having to backtrack and back out of menus, and I clicked on the wrong thing, and wait, is this where I'm supposed to be? It's awful. And when you search for stuff, right? And when you search for stuff, it's terrible. Colt Eastwood called you out yesterday for your Coke and McDonald's take. He can call me out. He misunderstood my Coke analogy. Go look at the Twitter. Go look at it. Colt Eastwood didn't even understand the analogy. So if you're gonna call somebody out, at least do me the due diligence of understanding my argument. Like, arguing against, it wasn't even arguing against a straw man. It was arguing against a piece of Jell-O. It's like, I didn't say that. Like, you don't understand the analogy, brother. You also don't seem to understand fiduciary duty. These are two significant aspects to what I was saying. It's like, come on, man. Come on, Colt. Come on, Colt. Come back up here. I don't know what you're doing. You're down there talking about something I'm not talking about. Xbox wants people to find Game Pass. Sony, I feel like they don't want people to use PS Plus. Yeah, but I don't know about that. Sony was pretty open recently about how they're not getting the results they want from PS Plus. Well, because it looks terrible on your platform. That's why, right? I can't imagine anybody signing up for PS Plus and after a few months feeling like, oh man, this is great. It's so confusing. If I wasn't a content creator, I would have canceled it. Sony pony. I'm sitting here telling you that if I wasn't a content creator, I'd have canceled PS Plus. Every time I open it, I get confused and can't find stuff. And the games they're adding don't do much for me. I have it for the game trials, right? Don't listen to that. I was watching the show. He did not call you out. They were very professional, and they agreed with some of your take, just not the grounds. His mods even timed people out for talking about the 2020 stuff. Well, I appreciate that, because I tell you what, I did gain a little bit more respect for Colt Eastwood because he didn't sling any mud. He misunderstood my analogy, and then he said he corrected me. I was like, you didn't correct me. You didn't understand me. So, sure, if he was professional and they were squelching the 2020 stuff, you want to know why? You want to know why he did that? Because he's a YouTuber. It's the same reason Oh No Alex handled it that way. Because he's a YouTuber. He knows, they know better. They know better. They're like, no. We don't get into that. We don't get into allegations. We don't get into unproved claims. We don't do that here. Because that gets people into trouble. They know better, right? Oh no, it's Alex. You could see it on his face. You could see the gears turning. He's like, okay, and then he moved on. So I got respect for them for that. Like I think that shows at least some modicum of class that some of these other guys don't have. There were guys that handle it with no class, so I appreciate the fact that they were handling it with class and professionalism. PlayStation's also done the PlayStation Now icon mobile, so you don't need to have that trash on the main UI. Right, but if I go over to PS Plus on my PlayStation, it's organized extremely in an odd way. And then when I pull up Game Pass on my Xbox, I think it's wonderful. It's like, oh, this is great. I can see exactly the value that I'm getting. That's why this video today, today's show, how did I miss this? Xbox game demos are basically hidden. They're basically hidden. You have to go through like a very specific flow to get to them. Now the question is, why are they hiding it? I'm not asserting or claiming that they're being sinister. I'm genuinely curious. Why wouldn't it be front and center? Why wouldn't it be right there in the storefront? Hey, we have game demos. And then here's the most recent demos that we've added. Consider this for just a second with me. The reason I went down this rabbit trail is because Xbox ID at Xbox is at the GDC 2023. And they do a presentation and they're like, hey, we're doing a game demo event right now. Why wouldn't you have that baked right into the UI? I open up the Xbox store and it's like, game demos event. And this is how long it's running. Why are you hiding it? It doesn't make any sense to me. You literally, in the blog post about it, they're like, go to the store, type demos, click on demos, and then they'll be there. It's like, what? It doesn't even make any sense. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast with a $5 super chat tip. A lot of people misunderstood your analogy. People are applying emotion over logic with the ABK deal. Oh, I mean, it's... Listen. I've been through a lot as a content creator. I've been down to the 10th layer of hell itself of being attacked and maligned. I welcome people to misunderstand me like a thumb-sucking dum-dum. That's refreshing. It's like I will take that every day of the week. Those people were refreshing. The nasty hate, I was just like, shut up. Like I was happy when I would look at all my notifications and it would just be people that don't get it. That made me feel good. I was like, oh, whew. It's just a bunch of people that don't get it. It's just a bunch of people who misunderstand basic logic and have no idea how the business world works. That's tolerable. I can take that. The games in Game Pass are going to sell Game Pass. What benefit is there putting demos on display? That's exactly the point of today's show, Zubair. Right? Is Lono now a bot? Sounds like a headline for tomorrow. Yeah, they're going to call me an X-bot now. That's exactly the point, Zubair. I think they don't want this front and center because it makes it seem like, well, why would I pay for Game Pass? Microsoft has... Look how many demos are in here. My controller timed out. Look how many demos are in here. I'm going to go all the way to the top, and then we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Okay? Now, obviously, a demo is not the same as Game Pass, but you have to think like a consumer. You have to think how many times you're seeing the word free as I just scrolled through that. As a consumer, you see pages and pages of free games. You're like, well, these are demos. Why would I need Game Pass? It'll take me the rest of the year to play all these demos, and they're always adding demos, right? Every summer and winter, they do a demo event. So this is why I think ID at Xbox game demos and Game Pass need to come together, because it feels like a split identity. It feels like you got ID at Xbox out here trying to promote indie titles, trying to get indie titles purchased, throwing games on game demos. And then you got Game Pass over there being like, no. You want to be on Game Pass. Guys, this is sad right here. Wait, is this going to move? We're 34 minutes in. Who wants to be the first member? Who wants to gift the first member? Get us to that 25 member goal, and that will force me to gift 5 members to the community. Let's see it. A $2 tip from True Witty. PS Plus Premium is a joke. Sony needs to do better. Yeah, I mean, again, folks that are going to call me a Sony pony, I said this in a video at the beginning of this year. I said PlayStation needs to work on their UI, and they need to work on the value add of PlayStation Plus, because I don't think it's very good. It's amazing to somebody who's a late adopter to the PS5. You grab a PS5 and you're like, oh man. When you say ID, do you mean id Software? No. ID at Xbox is literally their indie effort. ID at Xbox. Have you ever seen the logo? They have like a logo and everything. I interviewed the head of ID at Xbox at E3 2020. It's ID with the @ symbol at Xbox. It's basically their indie initiative, right? Let me see if I can't get this up here for you. There you go. So ID at Xbox, bringing great games from independent publishers to Xbox. So this is their big push. I don't know why. What on earth? MLB The Show, is that considered an indie title? Anyway, so here you go. Obviously these ones are. No Man's Sky, Disney Dreamlight Valley, really? Was that a small studio or something? It's a Disney game. But most of these you're going to recognize. You're going to see High on Life, Hollow Knight, Deep Rock Galactic, things of that nature. You know, you're going to see smaller titles. So, 25 pages of titles. Metallica with 10 months of membership, and it's a VIP, almost a year. I love my PS Plus and Game Pass. I use both on the regular, except Game Pass is on my PC. No need to have an Xbox, and almost everything is on Game Pass for PC. Drinking some Reforge Roast. Oh, man. You need to substantiate how I'm biased. I'm willing to bet you cannot. Oh, yeah. I mean, people want to... I don't know why people want to do this. You clearly have a bias towards Sony. Just stop the cap. Xbox can do nothing right in your eyes. Only Sony can be the best. I get it. Why would you say that? 809 Lion says, I had to explain your analogy on Cowboy Show last night because some people had a hard time accepting the example. Thank you so much, Craig. There we go. We're getting things started. 5 gifted members. That's right. Nice start. Thank you, Craig. If you just got gifted a membership and you're like, hey, I could do my own membership, you can gift 1 membership at a time. Gifting members is now available on the Android phones. You can click the $ at the bottom of the chat and it'll let you do it. We got a gifted member to Skylar, Devil Shooter, Sevens, Reckless Gambit, and Raven. We're at 125 because of Whiskey Neat. Whiskey Neat was a resub, though. I don't put resubs over there. I can't afford that. If I gifted 5 every 25 resubs, that would not be financially viable for me. Yeah, Whiskey Neat got his purple badge back. That's why it's hidden, because people will go after free instead of paying 10 or $60 a month. That's why both companies hide free or make it hard to find. Sony's in Sony's case, figure out its bad UI. Yeah, but which fermented grape ruined the TikTok stream today? I couldn't, my mic wasn't working right, and I was like, I got a show to run. I'm not going to sit here and troubleshoot TikTok. I couldn't, apparently my voice was all high-pitched or something. Just literally praised it. Yeah, DDP says, I'll gift 1. DDP gifts 1, taking us to 6. There's your 6. You guys feel like we needed it to be at 6, so now it's at 6. There we go. Thank you so much. It went to Frank Yeager. I don't know if Sony's trying to hide free by making their UI bad. Sony's UI has been bad for a long time. It's been bad for a long time. I used to hate playing games on there because, like, partying up, their audio codecs were always terrible. Everybody's mics always echoed like crazy. It was terrible. I couldn't stand using their interface and their UI. I don't think they just suddenly decided, let's make our UI bad so we can hide all the free stuff. If the ABK deal goes through, do you think PlayStation will do day and date with their titles on PlayStation Plus? Because if they don't start, they'll get left behind. Game Pass will dominate. Game Pass will dominate what? What are they going to dominate exactly? People not buying games? Like, if you look at the ecosystems, if you look at the console saturation, Sony's not going to have to do anything to their PS Plus if the ABK deal goes through. Like, you're buying into a narrative that people are selling you that, like, Sony's done for if this deal goes through. I don't think people quite understand just how cemented into the market that Sony is. Sony is not in some weak position right now. If you look at the commercial success and the sales records that they were hitting with Miles Morales and Spider-Man and then Horizon and God of War Ragnarok, they have virtually no reason to put their games day and date. They have no... Oh, Cat's gonna do a big one. Oh, man. Do you guys want this Just Dance stream or not? We're like 400 or 500 members away. She drops a 20 bomb. 809 Lion got scooped up in the bunch. You love to see it. I love to see regulars in there. I don't see Sony needing to respond at all to be like, oh yeah, now we suddenly need to put, I gotta sign up a form for early access to some YouTube stuff. Guys, if you just got a membership, make sure you get into the Discord. It is a members-only Discord, and you get access to all sorts of extra content. The UI is easy, and demos aren't hidden. It's easy. True Witty with a $2 tip. Which are you referring to, Sony or Xbox when you say that? And you're not? What's JC saying? Brap, you're definitely biased. Most people in the community know that. Well, but... Okay, so are you're very biased as well. Like, is that what we're gonna do today? Is that what you guys want to come in here and do? Brap came in, talked to me about a video. 809 Line talked to me about a video. If you guys are gonna start taking swings at Brap, sit down. Sit down before you get slapped. I'm just gonna start slapping people for that. Don't go after people in chat. Don't. All Brap did was come in and tip me and talk about my video. You want to talk to me? Talk to me. You want to take a swipe at me? That's a quick exit too. Don't start going after people in chat. That's so unproductive. You're biased. Well, you're biased. Well, you're more biased than me. Well, your bias is bigger than mine. Like, shh. Stop it. It's not conducive to conversation. Let's have a conversation. We're talking about PS Plus. We're talking about Xbox Game Pass. We're talking about game demos. We're talking about game trials. We're talking about the relationship between subscription services and people buying games. We're talking about, will PlayStation Plus have to change its status and how it handles games day and date if the ABK deal goes through? Enter into that discussion. Don't create side ones. It's not fun for anybody to have to be like, oh, there goes Lono again having to babysit chat because the same red herring show up. Last quarter, 25% of all games were PlayStation first party. That quarter includes Call of Duty. Yeah, you guys like this? You guys like this stat here? Last quarter, 25% of all games sold on PlayStation were PlayStation first party, and that includes Call of Duty. But, 809 Lion gifted a membership. He's paying it forward. If you just got gifted a membership and you want to pay it forward like 809 Lion, do it. Do it. Hit that $sign at the bottom of the chat. Hit it. I guess that really hurts the narrative that, like, Sony needs Call of Duty. Does that hurt that narrative? Does that hurt the question that we just got asked? Oh, yeah. If the ABK deal goes through PlayStation Plus, they're going to have to do day and date. Listen to me. If there's a service that needs to evolve, thank you guys for saying bless you. If there's a service that's going to need to evolve going forward, it's not just PS Plus. I will readily admit PS Plus has got to change its value offer. It's got to change the way that it shows up on the Sony UI because it's terrible. But I think Xbox Game Pass needs a change too. I don't think it's immune. I think the price is going to have to go up, and they're going to have to change the way things land over there. I think one of the ways they could do that is with game demos and ID at Xbox. ID at Xbox is their independent developer initiative. I think you could bring a ton of those games over to Game Pass as demos. It's not a narrative. Didn't they state that in their legal documents? No, but people misrepresent that all the time. You're reading headlines and watching people that don't quote the documents directly. That's not what Sony said. I'm so tired of revisiting this. Go read the documents and quote them directly, or I don't engage with people. I don't engage with false summaries of the documents. Duncan was 7 months. Why aren't you covering Resident Evil 4 best-selling game all over? Best rated game of the year. Lots of people are hyped for this game of the year contender. What was I going to do? I mean, it's coming out. I'll probably play it. I didn't necessarily feel like doing a review roundup of Resident Evil. I do that for some games. I didn't feel like doing that for Resident Evil. It's literally just 10s out of 10s everywhere. That just feels like a puff piece. That doesn't feel like a video worth making. Hey guys, I'm going to sit here and read through reviews for the first 20 minutes of my stream, and it's just going to be glowing praise for Resident Evil 4. That doesn't feel like a piece of content worth making. And I retract my gifted subs. I don't need to see the dancing again. Still getting over the last one. Shut up, cat! Shut up! I did it for you! I danced for you! Why would I want a demo when I'm getting the full game? That's a great question, Mark. And I don't think these things are juxtaposed. I think they can work together, and here's how. Currently, the way they house demos is they're basically hidden, right? They're hidden off, they're tucked off, in this other section. Let's get the rotation going. They're tucked off in this other section, right? And I think what they could do is they could say ID at Xbox is joining forces with Game Pass, and you'd have this whole section on Game Pass where any independent games that Xbox is promoting through ID at Xbox, you would get to try them out. And if you want to buy them, you can buy them. It would be a completely new thing. It would not supplant or replace all the games you get for free now. It would be a completely separate thing. Thought it would drive great viewership. I don't make content based on viewership all of the time. Yes, there are certainly times where I know this is a good topic, this is relevant, this will get me viewership, but I always ask the question, what's the POV? What am I bringing to the table that's worth saying? And regurgitating a bunch of reviews that are 9s and 10s, I just didn't think that was a show worth making. That just feels like a low-brow view grab. I want to make my own shows. Now, if the reviews are mixed about games, I like covering that because I give people a full spectrum of hey, this game's getting 10s, but it's also getting 5s. Let's talk about it. We did that with Atomic Heart. I'm on my Xbox daily. I never see any crazy ads. Maybe a tile I have to move to. I think the only place I've ever seen ads... Hang on, let me pull my Xbox back up. I think the only place I've ever seen ads is on this home screen. You might see ads. Yeah, over here. But that's an ad for a video game, sponsored. You scroll down here. This might look like advertisements, but they're promoting things you can use on your Xbox. You can watch Ted Lasso on Apple TV, right? I mean, I'm just going to show you. Look how good Game Pass looks. Boom. Oh, you get a trial offer. Oh, Ghostwire Tokyo. And then they put these down here because these are obviously good for you. I mean, Sea of Thieves turning 5 is not necessarily linked to Game Pass, but still, these are titles that everybody's going to be maybe excited to see, especially Hi-Fi Rush. And then you come right down here, recently added. Boom, 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 boom. Look how good that looks. Look at the quality. Look at the size. Look at the UI. Look at the crisp use of negative space. just their UI, my gosh. The Xbox UI team does an amazing job. They do. Their stuff just looks so clean. It makes, listen, that right there, have you ever been at the store and you saw a product and you wanted to buy it and try it just because the packaging looked dope? Right? Just because the packaging looked dope. You're like, I think I want to try that out. Like, just the way they position those games, I want to install Wolong. And I know I wouldn't like Wolong. I tried the demo and didn't like it. But again, they've got a really, really great way of positioning Game Pass. Like, it just looks great. You're like, oh, wow, look at all the stuff I get. Xbox, Ghostwire coming to Xbox, didn't know that? Yeah. My favorite thing when Oh No, It's Alex reacted to my Starfield video is he gets to Ghostwire, and I love when people react to my content and they pause too early and they accidentally self-own. He was like, this was before the acquisition, and then the tweet is from like 2022. It's like, it's not before the acquisition. This tweet came after. This is before the acquisition. I'm simply establishing that this is a Bethesda title that's timed exclusive that also happens to be using the phrase arrives exclusively. You could see it. It was like, oops, I shouldn't have paused the video so fast. I tried Valheim. I feel so lost, yet I'm interested. Valheim's really fun if you can get into a rhythm. If you can get your initial base build, Valheim's a great game. That's a big win. That's a big win for Valheim and for Xbox. To get that many people in there, that's a big win because Valheim's very popular. They kind of took the world by storm. I wish PlayStation implemented the dynamic backgrounds again. I know. I had my Spider-Man background on my PlayStation 4. I don't know why they took that away. I'm interested why you think they won't do day and date on PS Plus. They have to adapt. You have not established why they have to adapt. The same way Netflix messed up the film industry, hardly nobody buys DVDs anymore. Why does the industry leader have to adapt? You got to explain that to me. You haven't substantiated any reason that PS Plus has to adapt. Sony's ecosystem, their value add, their way of positioning content is not dependent upon their subscription service. It isn't. Look at how much Sony's dedicated marketing to PS Plus. That not to the degree. Also, let's consider what you're saying in light of Microsoft's own admission about Game Pass revenue. Game Pass revenue annually will make up 15% of the gaming division's revenue. And you think the industry leader is going to look at that and say, oh my gosh, we need to completely change our entire ecosystem and our value offer and our revenue structures because a company in third place is making 15% of their revenue from a subscription service where they do day and date. Oh my gosh, we better hurry. What? So the industry leader, that would be like McDonald's looking at a third place burger joint doing some type of monthly subscription thing that accounted for 15% of their revenue being like, we better hurry up and make a change. They're the industry leader. They don't need to do anything. They're defending the status quo. Who wouldn't? If you're in the lead, you're like, we're in the lead, and we really would love for that to not be the case. Like, what? Imagine being in the lead and being like, you know, this status quo thing, it's just not all it's cracked up to be. Being in the lead is for the for the birds. Riaz with a 2 spot. Do you think MGS remake rumors are true? Probably. Remake is in the water. The word remake is in the water. People are loving remakes. You see people whine and cry and criticize on Twitter, but remakes have been doing pretty well commercially. Stormkilla with 8 months. Just wanted to drop by, say I love you, homie. Been busy. Haven't gotten to watch much, but you still the homie. Thank you very much, Stormkilla. They could do day and date sporadically with AA titles, like Atlas Fallen as an example. Yeah, they're doing day and date with some titles. They're doing it with Atlas Fallen. They're doing it with Meet Your Maker. They're doing it with Chia, that game that hit just today. Sony is doing day and date with some titles. They're not going to do day and date with like Spider-Man. They're going to make a bundle. Why would they do that? The same reason that Diablo 4 is not landed on Game Pass. When you're interested in selling games, you are not going to do that. Microsoft's interested in getting people into an ecosystem funnel. Their interests are different. Their interests aren't wrong or bad, but they're different. Sony's interests are not the same as Microsoft. Sony wants to sell games. That's how they pump up their ecosystem. Like, that's literally a completely different approach. Yeah, today you get Ghostwire Tokyo, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, Rainbow Six Extraction was a stinker, Immortals Phoenix Rising, and Chia. Yeah, PS Plus is getting some good titles. Again, that's great for people. That's not great for me. I played almost all those games that I'm interested in. If they want to stay number one, they have to adapt. After the ABK deal goes through, their revenue will be almost the same. Also, being the leader might get them a lot more subscribers. No, okay, if suddenly the deal goes through and they're making the same amount of revenue, you still haven't substantiated why that means they would need to change their subscription funnel. You haven't substantiated that. You also have to consider something. Right now, if Microsoft gets Activision Blizzard and suddenly makes all of those titles on Game Pass, that's revenue loss for Microsoft. They're willing to be a loss leader because they want to fill the subscription funnel. So you're like, oh, as soon as the deal goes through, Microsoft's making as much money as Sony. Not if they put giant titles on Game Pass. They start putting Call of Duty on Game Pass. They start putting Diablo 4 on Game Pass. That's revenue loss. You're making less money on those consumers. That's why Activision came out and officially stated Diablo 4 will not be on Game Pass, because if this deal doesn't go through, Activision Blizzard has a vested interest in selling Diablo 4, not giving it away. So no, it would not. You haven't substantiated why that would create an impetus for Sony to change. The market leader doesn't have to change its ecosystem just because Microsoft suddenly owns a bunch of property. That doesn't create any pain for them, except for pain of potential loss of revenue on titles like Call of Duty. But that doesn't mean that they have to change their PlayStation Plus offering. They're not logically connected. That's a non sequitur. It doesn't logically follow that, oh, the ABK deal goes through. Well, Sony better hurry up and change PS Plus. Well, that's a non sequitur. There's no logical connection there. The only logical connection that I could see is that they would want to position Call of Duty differently on the platform to shield themselves from revenue loss. I saw an analogy that made me laugh last night. Sony and Microsoft are running a marathon. Microsoft's fallen so far behind, they're trying to buy a car ride to catch up. And the other people in the race seem to have an issue with it. And everyone's confused why other members of the race are upset. That's not bad. How much money does ABK make from microtransactions? They make a bundle on mobile. Half of their revenue of 2022, halfway through 2022, half of their revenue came from mobile. Half. This is why I've been waiting for Google and Apple and China to weigh in on the deal, because mobile is a bigger portion of it. Google and Apple and China don't give a rip about Call of Duty. I mean, tangentially they do, because it's linked to the mobile revenue. Xbox will have marketing for a lot of big ABK titles. That means Sony might lose market share, and they will need to be more competitive. Day and Date is doing that. No, it's not. Day and Date is not being competitive. Again, you just created another non sequitur. That does not logically follow. Just because Xbox suddenly has big ABK titles and more market share, Sony doesn't gain market share by saying we're going to do Day and Date with Wolverine, as an example. That doesn't give them market share. What gives them market share is saying, this is the only place you can play this. This is the only place you can play that. The PS5 Plus stands to be a developer-appealing box because they're going to accelerate ray tracing, which will make development go faster. Does that make sense? If a market leader sees a potential threat to their dominance, wouldn't that prompt them to innovate or change even if they have the lead? Don't want to pull a BlackBerry. Right, but I don't think PlayStation Plus is how they innovate, Zubair. You're not connecting the dots, Aaron. If Microsoft suddenly has all those titles, Microsoft has estimated that Xbox Game Pass will amount to 15% of their annual revenue. That doesn't translate into a market disruption where suddenly Sony has to change PS Plus positioning. That doesn't make any sense. That's not logically connected. Will Sony have to react and respond? Sure. I'm not sure what you're saying, Creature. All I'm saying is that Sony's response to the ABK deal, I do not think will be making games day and date on PlayStation Plus. That doesn't make any sense. Oh man, we're potentially going to lose a bunch of revenue. Let's lose more. What? Let's lose more. The demand for Spider-Man 2, the demand for Wolverine, the demand for any other big first-party titles that they sell, it's not going to be diminished by the ABK deal. They're not logically connected. Oh gosh. I bumped the desk. A $5 tip from True Witty. I was talking about Sony with a question. If the ABK deal goes through, if Sony buys Square, Capcom, Konami, and Sega, is that then anti-competitive? A thought? I don't think it's anti-competitive to buy individual developers, no. And I don't think Sony has the money to buy Square, Capcom, Konami, and Sega. I don't want a buying war. I did a video about that. I don't want Sony to start gobbling up companies. I think that's terrible for the market. I wouldn't suddenly be like, yay, Sony, but I wouldn't say it's anti-competitive. It wasn't anti-competitive when they bought Bungie. It wasn't anti-competitive when Microsoft bought Bethesda. It wasn't anti-competitive when Microsoft bought Ninja Theory. That's not anti-competitive. It's anti-competitive when you restrict the market or control the market or buy up large portions of it and then can hurt the revenue streams of your competitor. That's anti-competitive. Buying a developer is not anti-competitive. Brat with the $5 tip. Companies have different strategic goals and risk appetite. For example, Nintendo, and they seem to be doing well. Right, like put the shoe on a different foot. If the ABK deal goes through, what's Nintendo gonna do? Nintendo don't give a frick. Like, Nintendo doesn't care. Nintendo's like, what? That's fine. We're gonna sell Mario hand over fist. Zelda hand over fist. We don't care about any of that. It'd be stupid for them to do. They need the revenue flowing to continue supporting their studios. Microsoft will now get the revenue flow that was going to ABK from COD and invest. The data around Game Pass needs context, like, have Microsoft just cannibalized their own user base, or have they won a percentage over from Sony? I suspect nearly all Game Pass users were already on the Microsoft platform. Microsoft admitted that in the documents, that they've not been able to get people to convert over. I do not think it's logically connected. Lono got pretty busy at work, so I'm just getting in. Can I have a recap? Yeah, let me give you guys a recap. We're an hour into the stream. Make sure you're smashing the like button. Help us get to the next goal. If this hits 50, I'll owe you even more members. I'll owe you 10 instead of 5. Let's get to 300 likes on the video. If you haven't hit thumbs up yet, it helps people find the video. So here's a recap on today's show. I can't believe I missed this because I've been pushing for game trials or game demos to become a part of Game Pass because I believe that would help foster an ecosystem of purchase. I don't think game trials or game demos need to replace the games that are landing on Game Pass, but I think it could be a nice value add. I do anticipate Game Pass needing to increase its price at some point this year. I'm not singling out Game Pass. Many subscription services are raising their price, including PS Plus, likely sometime this year as well. So I said that the big game demo events they've been doing, they typically do them every summer and every winter. Those games go into a game demo funnel that are actually kind of hard to find. You actually have to go to the store on your Xbox. You have to go to search. You have to type demos. You have to click on the demos category. And they even have to put those awkward instructions in their blogs about this. So I was saying you could take ID at Xbox, not id Software. ID at Xbox is their independent developer initiative. You could take ID at Xbox and say it's joining forces with Game Pass. You would create a good hierarchy. One of the main criticisms of Game Pass is it's just a bunch of indie titles. Well, you could say, hey, we're going to bring even more indie titles to Game Pass, and we're going to do it in the way of game trials and demos, so you get to try more games, and if you want to buy the games, you can. You're more empowered as a Game Pass subscriber. These are more games than you've ever gotten, and that's why we're putting them over here. Now, somebody might say, well, why would I want game trials and game demos if I've been getting free games? This would be over and above all the free games that you would continue to get. This would be extra. That's my Reforged recap. But I get some appreciation. Let's see some gifted member super chats, coffee orders. Let's at least see 300 likes. Give me some credit for a very quick recap on the show. Right now we're debating about PS Plus needing to adapt and change because people are thinking that if the ABK deal goes through, suddenly Sony's going to need to do day and date with their titles, and I just don't see that being logically connected. I don't see a logical connection between the two. This guy says, oh, Wooly is saying, destroying his analogy boils down to, it's all lies. It's super complicated. Jim looks ridiculous, and it's that simple. Yeah, I did notice that. Like, everybody responding to my McDonald's analogy, like, they're all saying the same thing. They just stack assertions on top of assertions. They're like, oh, no, he is crying. Oh, no, he does look ridiculous. Why? There was a guy that reacted to me on YouTube. He's like, yeah, I got out of the content creation thing for a while. I'm going to get back in here. And I basically trot out fiduciary duty, legal responsibility. They're doing what they're supposed to do. And he just like, no, he just looks like he's crying and he's mad. What? That's not argumentation. You're just asserting something. You're projecting emotion. It just looks pathetic every time. I'm like, you just look pathetic. At least make an argument. Yo, a gifted member from Silver Subaru, and it goes to Eric. Thank you so much for doing that, inching us closer to the next big member goal. Doc Dark, use McDonald's Coca-Cola too. Well, my Doc is the homie. I love him. I've had him on my show. I like Doc Dark. But even he kind of misunderstood the analogy. I was like, all I'm arguing is that Sony is doing what they should do, what they are legally obligated to do. And people are like, so they're going to go to jail if they don't do it? No, it's a legal obligation, you absolute buffoons, right? Doc's not a buffoon. He didn't say that. What I'm saying is so many people are responding to stuff I just didn't say. It's just as simple as this. If Burger Joint A makes 5% of their annual revenue from Fizzy Pop, and their direct competitor, Burger Joint B, wants to buy and own Fizzy Pop, Burger Joint A is going to have a problem with that. Because you can now directly impact a line item on our revenue, 5% of what we bring in. We can't let you do that. Or if you do that, we need to fight for concessions. It's literally that simple. It's that simple. It's just fiduciary duty. Any business in existence would be doing the same thing. But because you don't like Sony or because you cheer for Xbox, you want to project all this emotion onto them. He's crying. He looks pathetic. This is just basic business 101. Microsoft's doing everything they're supposed to do. I've even said Microsoft's out here. They're moving and shaking. They're really navigating this well. They have got the public completely convinced that they're going to be Johnny Appleseed with Call of Duty. Everybody gets Call of Duty. Don't look at mobile. Mobile is over here. Call of Duty. Everybody gets Call of Duty. Microsoft's out here hustling, baby. And they're doing a bang-up job. No shade. No hate. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do as well. OMG, Lono, part of my show yesterday, we were discussing your McDonald's analogy. I kept trying to tell people in my Discord that it's hypothetical and people are trying to make it literal. Oh, yeah, people try to take it literal. They're like, Burger King doesn't have enough money to buy Coke. Well, McDonald's doesn't survive on Coke. Nobody goes to McDonald's just for Coke. Oh, gosh. Death by 1,000 paper cuts of dumb. That's death by 1,000 paper cuts of stupid. That's not what the analogy's about. And people saying that nobody goes to McDonald's just for a Coke, you should see the number of people that go through the drive-thru for a Coke. They literally have a proprietary recipe. McDonald's has a proprietary Coke recipe. They actually is a steady flow of people all day long who go to McDonald's for a Coke. Why do you think they have part of their marketing is dollar Cokes? Large Cokes for $1. That's literally part of their marketing because people do that. My wife doesn't buy burgers from there. She gets herself a Coke. Jeepers. Yeah, I've had people say that. They go to McDonald's for coffee. Yeah. Isn't Burger King owned by PepsiCo? None of that matters in my analogy. Take McDonald's and Burger King out of the equation. If you have Burger Joint A and Burger Joint B, and they're directly competing with each other, and Burger Joint A, 5% of their annual revenue comes from selling Fizzy Pop. They have a proprietary recipe with Fizzy Pop. People like the taste of Fizzy Pop at Burger Joint A. If Burger Joint B was like, we're going to buy Fizzy Pop. We're going to buy the parent company of Fizzy Pop. We'll be able to control the prices, the contracts, the deals. Burger Joint A would have a problem with that. You're our direct competitor, and you can disrupt our supply line. You can disrupt a revenue stream for us. We have a fiduciary duty to protect that revenue. Why are you crying, Burger Joint A? Why are you crying? You look desperate. No, they look like a business. I tell you what, a lot of these people have never made it off the ground floor of a company, and it shows. They've never even made it to schedule management because they don't understand just basic business practice. This is Bush League. This is pedestrian. Go audit a community college. Sit in on a business class. This is ground level basic understanding of business structure. You're my direct competitor. You can't, through brute force and spending, disrupt my revenue. That's not allowed. We have antitrust laws to protect against this. I remember hearing the McDonald's in the movie theaters had a special relationship with Coke and explains why the Coke tastes better there. Yeah, they do something different with the syrup. Okay, good. They do something with the syrup. And it's a part of the marketing. Think about when you sit down in the movie theater. Think about when you see an advertisement for McDonald's. They got the Coke right there fizzing and making the sound, right? And they pour it slowly and you hear it. It's like it's part of the marketing. Call of Duty's endemic to so much that Sony does. They make a ton of money on it. It's endemic to their ecosystem. 48% of the people who buy Call of Duty buy it on Sony. And another company suddenly owning Call of Duty, yes, that is a problem. That's not a dunk on Sony. Sony should have planned better, bro. Sony should have planned better. They shouldn't have been so successful. Yeah, 48% of the buying people buy Call of Duty on Sony. They should have done poor. Sucks to succeed, Sony. Ha! Sucks to succeed. What? That's not a dunk. Oh my gosh. I can't believe this company makes so much money on this product. What a bunch of losers. You should be like us. You should be in third place. It's not a dunk. It isn't. They don't have any self-awareness. It's like, yeah, Sony should have planned better. They should have planned better than being the market leader? They should have planned better than being a giant funnel of one of the most successful third-party companies in existence, one of the most third-party successful games in existence? Really? Yeah, they should have planned for an unprecedented acquisition. Now, guys, we're killing it out there. Am I right? We're crushing it. Oh my gosh. Look, 48%. Look how many people buy Call of Duty. What if somebody decides to write a $70 billion check and buys Activision Blizzard? What if our direct competitor decides to do an unprecedented acquisition in the history of video games, disrupting the entire global market? What if that happens? We should basically have contingency plans for that. What would be their contingency plan for that? To what? Discourage people from buying Call of Duty? Guys, we don't want to make a bunch of money on Call of Duty, so what we should really do... What we should really do is discourage... Guys, don't... Stop buying Call... Stop it. Stop. Stop it. Stop buying Call of Duty on our platform. You guys, what if Microsoft buys this? Oh my gosh, quit. Stop. All this money. We don't want it. What the frick? It doesn't even make any sense. Like, they don't take the argument beyond just fanboy response reaction. Well, sucks to suck, Sony. Yeah. Should have thought of that before you were insanely, globally, and commercially successful. Yeah, you really should have thought about that, Sony. Our teammate, yeah, suffering from success, DJ Colin. That's right. What in the world? Being in third place, using revenues from other software industry ventures to fund grabbing the largest market share of acquisitions in a separate industry. That's the other thing I love, Lance, in the debates. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's my favorite thing that they bring up. Oh, Sony's going to have a hard time making first-party games if they lose millions of dollars. Yeah, that's kind of how that works. Oh, what's that like? What's it like to have Big Daddy Microsoft bail you out of third place? Money from software, money from operating systems. Where do you think the money's coming from for this acquisition? It ain't your third place, non-profitable, almost shut down gaming division. It's from Microsoft software sales. So really analyze that. Sony, within the ecosystem of gaming, generates tons of money on Call of Duty. You're in third place, and you need Daddy to bail you out with money from software sales, not game sales. What, you think first-party game sales on Xbox is how they're affording this acquisition? You think Forza and Halo were so commercially successful that that's what's writing the check? Do we really want to start comparing the revenue here and be like, well, yeah, I can't, boy, look at Sony relying on Call of Duty. Yeah, look at Microsoft relying on Big Daddy Corporate to save their gaming division once again. Like, come on. Come on. Really want to compare? Mark with a $10 super chat tip. Xbox fans that are zealots. A, there are Sony fans that are zealots too. They can't separate logic and Game Pass. No zealots can. To them, every game should be in Game Pass. You're wrong if you don't agree. They don't care about the impact on the industry. Yeah, the one guy that reacted to my McDonald's Coke thing on YouTube, he made the same fatal mistake again. He was like, well, why doesn't Sony just make a Call of Duty competitor over the next 10 years? Why doesn't Microsoft? You're the loser. You're the loser. You're the one that hasn't carved out a percentage of the Call of Duty market. Why don't you make the Call of Duty competitor? You've got $70 billion to throw around. You have more money than Sony. That's always the dunk, isn't it? That's always the dunk. So that's why it's always such a contradiction. It's like, yeah, man, Sony, they don't have enough money to compete with Microsoft. Microsoft's got way more money. But Sony's also supposed to create a Call of Duty competitor because why? You should be creating one. What is happening? Yeah, I would like to temporarily mute this group text. Oh my gosh. Just mute for today. Mute for today. Holy frickin' moly. Friends of ours, their kiddo, was having some issues and he's fine now. And so they're just all celebrating and updating me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's just constant. It's a constant flow of celebration, adulation. We're all excited. He's a sweet little boy and we were all worried about him. He's great. Okay. Why spend the money building it when it's already built? Thank you for conceding that Sony has no reason to build a Call of Duty competitor. Do you see how that works? Yeah, why spend money building it when it's already built? Yeah, that's exactly why PlayStation has no reason to build a Call of Duty competitor. You're exactly right. Why should Sony waste investment, research and development, market research, time, and probably have to find a developer to do it? Why do it when it's already built and they make up 48% of the people who buy the game? You quite literally just logicked yourself out of why it seems so silly to be like, well, Sony should just make a Call of Duty competitor. They have a vested interest to not do that. Microsoft has every reason to make a Call of Duty competitor because they don't pull in good Call of Duty numbers. So it stands to reason they're the likely person to do it. They did with Halo. Yeah, how'd that go? How are the Halo numbers doing? How did Halo Infinite do? They did a bang-up job with Halo. I can't wait for them to own Call of Duty. I'll have to comment on your Jedi Survivor upload. Didn't mean for it to sound rude if that's how it comes across. What, did I make a mistake? Did I make a mistake? I don't see any comments. For what it's worth, Lono, they're from the Night Sisters, which is a Force-sensitive group of people. Yeah, but being Force-sensitive and using the Force, isn't that different? Doesn't she use something different in the first game? It's not necessarily the Force that she's tapping into. I want them to be a competitor, not for market reasons, but because of their IP. They have amazing IP being unused. I don't actually have a problem with that, JC. I have more respect for that than what people typically say. If somebody literally looks at Sony and says, hey man, I really miss Killzone. I really miss SOCOM. I'd love for y'all to bring that back. I have more respect for that because you're at least arguing from player preference, not some weird ideological position of like, sucks to suck, Sony, better make a COD competitor. Huh? Yo, it's good, Polarin. If the COD content and early access was on equal footing, would the sales be the same? I'm not sure what you're asking about. What are you going on about? We don't know the impact of the acquisition. Sony has been on top for years. Nothing wrong with the change and possibility that someone else has a chance to be on top. Right, and that is not at all part of the discussion. It's not. It's not part of the discussion. Acquisitions are not about, let's just shake things up. Let's just let somebody else be on top. That's not what acquisitions are about. Acquisitions are about thinking through all the potential outcomes and market impacts. It's not about, well, let's just shake it up, baby. Let's just etch-a-sketch this bee. You know? Let's just etch-a-sketch this. Let's just take the market. Let's just see what happens. That's not how this is supposed to work. Unprecedented gaming acquisition. It could be fun. What? What are you, like a Batman villain? Introduce a little anarchy. Like what? I think people wouldn't like a new SOCOM because it'll end up being another live service game. You know what's funny? Out of all the Sony live service games that might end up coming out of the 12 that they want to do, it wouldn't surprise me if we got one of them. Killzone or SOCOM. It wouldn't surprise me if we got one of them. Maybe. I think Sony's big reason for not doing that is that it'd be really hard to fill the funnel with players because the most likely player to play a Killzone or a SOCOM is just loyal to Call of Duty, and that's extremely frustrating. To make a game and for people to be like, nah, I'm just gonna play Warzone. Like, have you ever met these guys? Like, they won't play anything else. They're just in Warzone like a gremlin, like hunched over in the dark, just nothing but COD. You're gonna have a hard time selling them. Like, that's a challenge, right? There's a reason that... Stop looking at Sony for a second and just look at the market. There's a reason the gaming market has basically said, why bother trying to enter into that lane? Oh, let's do a first-person shooter, you know, Call of Duty Battlefield style game. No. Nobody's doing it for good reason. For very good reason. They look at the market and say, why would we do that? That's a terrible decision. Mark Legendary drops with a $10 tip. Xbox buying studios to build their catalogs a moot point. Sony only has one studio that wasn't a purchase. It's quicker to buy your way into the market and to build into one. Business 101. Okay, but that's a false equivalency because many of the studios that Sony bought, when they bought them, I saw a guy, he had a whole thread on Twitter about this. He's like, a lot of the studios that Sony bought were small. They were lesser known. They invested in these studios. They helped these studios grow. I have no problem with that. I'm not saying build studios from scrap, but Activision Blizzard's not a studio. It's a publisher. It's, I think, the biggest. Is there a bigger conglomerate of games and developers than ABK? I don't know. I don't know if there is. Isn't this the king of the castle? Is anybody bigger than ABK? Take-Two is valuated at like 25 billion, not 70 billion. Is anybody this size? Come on. They're buying the biggest one. Sony should make a game called Chips. Goes with COD. Oh my gosh. Frostbite. That's terrible. That is a terrible joke. Killzone IP has so much potential. Oh, Tencent's bigger. Yeah. Tencent. Embracer's not bigger than Tencent, right? Or is Embracer bigger now? I always forget about Tencent. So Tencent and Embracer. So this would basically turn... Yeah. Would this turn Microsoft into one of the big three publishers then? Tencent, Embracer, Microsoft. Tencent owns like 100 studios. So what would the size comparison be at that point? Tencent, Embracer, Microsoft. Where would Microsoft be in relation to them? Tencent's far and away the biggest dog in the space. But Tencent isn't just games. Yeah. Microsoft's also investing in small studios. I think that's great. I mean, one of the things I talked about in my show open today is why I like ID at Xbox, their independent efforts, why I really think they could do great things for independent games and independent studios if they brought ID at Xbox and these game demo events to Game Pass. I think that could be a big win for everybody. I think this is what I think about Game Pass. I think Game Pass is being underutilized. Xbox Game Pass is one of the best values in gaming, and I think Microsoft could expand it to being something that is so much better than it is right now. No one would ever want to cancel from it. You'd have people signing up for it everywhere. They'd sign up for it through their TV, their mobile phones, their Steam Decks, whatever the heck. It'd be everywhere. I think it's being underutilized. It feels like a phase one. It's like, well, this is phase one. Phase one is, yeah, it's a great cadence of, like, lots of games. It's not a great cadence of AAA games, but it's a great cadence of lots of games. There's always something to download. There's always something to play. I just realized ID, independent demos. I believe ID stands for independent developers. I don't think it's meant to be in demos. Like... This here, wait, that's the wrong one. No, there we go. This here, ID at Xbox, independent developers, I believe is what it stands for. Because this is all about independent titles. all their efforts with this. And I think outside of a lot of these just being studios that they bought, so like Hollow Knight wasn't something that they like funded or anything, but you've ended up with things like High on Life. If we can, either way it works. No, either way it doesn't work. It's not about independent demos. That's not the same as independent developers. It's not the same at all. If they can end up with titles like High on Life, I think ID at Xbox would make a great value add to Game Pass, because I think that's where some of their better games have come from. I believe Tencent is in the $1 trillion club alongside Microsoft, but have a market evaluation of $500 billion. I feel like it's not a lot of people talk about them. They own a lot of studios. More coffee, shut it, Lono. Oh, you shut it, old man. Show up once a month and lecture me. Go back into hibernation, you big teddy bear. I'm 50 now. Respect me. Sony Interactive Entertainment as a publisher is bigger than AB. Microsoft detailed this in court documents to justify the deal. Really? If you guys are just tuning in, we were talking today about demos, Xbox game demos, and it was something that I completely missed. Let me show you what I'm referring to. So this is Game Pass. All right, let me back out of Game Pass. You can actually go into the Xbox store on your Xbox, and you can go to search. And if you type the word demos, this is the only way to get to it. You cannot get to it any other way. By the way, when you type demo, you got to type with an S. And there it is. Ding! It appears. And you click on this, and it's a category that is just full of demos. And I can't really be blamed for not seeing this. And look how full it is. I can't really be blamed for not seeing this, because it is kind of tucked away. But they have been doing regular game demo events. They typically happen on a cadence of summer and winter. And I think it'd be really, really cool if this went into Game Pass in a very intentional way. It could add value, right? It could be like, hey, we're going to regularly give you game demos. This is extra. We're not going to replace the free games you get every month. This is how they could couch it, right? The UI is so clean. It's so good. I love Xbox's UI. PlayStation's UI is just so bad. It could come in two waves. They could say, here's all of the Game Pass games you're getting this month. Here's all the ID game demos you're getting this month. All on Game Pass. So you get free games, you get games you can just play for free, and then you get a bunch of demos. And the demos could foster that idea that I've been trying to say. I think Game Pass could foster an ecosystem of purchase. You can find it without searching? How? Xbox's own game blog says that's how you're supposed to get there. How do you find demos without searching? Their own instructions, that's how you're supposed to get there. Now, you can find individual demos, sure. If you know what you're looking for, you can go say, yeah, give me the Immortals Phoenix Rising demo. I've never looked for demos while having Game Pass. Why would I? I can just play the whole game. I don't understand your idea. What's hard to understand about the fact that these games are not on Game Pass, brother? These games are not on Game Pass. Now, some of them might be, but the lion's share of these games are not on Game Pass. So yeah, that's the point, right? That's the whole point. You want to check out Evil Wizard demo? The Evil Wizard's not on Game Pass right now. You like it? You try it out? Buy it. The fact that it's a dedicated icon, but it only shows up via specific search is bonkers to me. Why do you say I'm a troll? Because I go against your favorite pay station? I get attacked, told to defend myself? I mean, the Antichrist, I didn't see any of your comments. I didn't. I just saw you being told to stop. So you were probably insulting people. I see the future Xbox will win. It's inevitable. They've already won publisher 2 years in a row. They're going to win for a third year in a row over Sony. Dead Man Walking. Dead Man Walking? Frosk, is that you? How's G4 doing, by the way? I don't think that that's true from an economic stance at all. Nobody with any semblance of market analysis would believe that. Oh yeah, Sony's a dead man walking. What are you talking about? Their market saturation's wonderful. They're set to have amazing market saturation with their PS5 this year. This is the problem. This is the problem. When you've been the loser for such a long time, you create a false dichotomy in your brain. Well, there's only a winner and a loser. And if we start competing, then Sony's going to lose. You understand that direct competitors coexist for decades. Burger King is still around. McDonald's is absolutely globally dominant. And they're still Burger King. They're still Wendy's. So, let's say deal goes through and Microsoft starts to grow in profit, grow in market share. They start competing more than they are now. That doesn't equate to Sony dying. That doesn't equate to Sony going away. You've just been in the losing position for so long, you think that's the only option. You're either winning or you're losing. You're either first or you're last. This isn't gonna cause Sony to disappear. This is the year for Xbox? How is this the year for Xbox? Nothing's come out yet outside of Hi-Fi Rush. We don't know the fate of this year at all. Final Fantasy 16 stands to be one of the bigger games this year. Very popular. It's probably going to get great reviews, Game Awards, right? And Microsoft has some good ones that haven't come out yet. So we don't know the status. We don't know how good Redfall's going to be. Redfall could surprise us. Redfall could flop. Starfield, I've continued to say that I think Starfield's going to be a special game. My biggest concern about Starfield is performance. I actually think it's going to be a good game. I'm worried about performance because of the scope of the project. And then you have Minecraft Legends, and then you have Forza Motorsport. Like I said, your team's been losing for too long if you think that makes this Xbox's year. Because they do the bare minimum, they launch a handful of titles, that makes it Xbox's year? Like, that's literally minimum expectation. As far as I can tell, Microsoft's going to have a good year. But they're going to have a good year by hitting, like, the minimum expectation. You've had 22 years in the gaming space. You're one of the biggest companies in the world, and you're going to launch 4 or 5 titles this year? Well, standing ovation, whoop-de-frick, you did what you're expected to do. Like, that doesn't make it their year. What are you talking about? We know more what's coming from Xbox than PlayStation. What's coming to PlayStation? Final Fantasy and Spider-Man third party? That's it? Final Fantasy and Spider-Man aren't third party. I mean, Final Fantasy is going to be a timed exclusive and end up on PC, but it's basically a first party title. Spider-Man 2 is first party. Horizon Forbidden West DLC. They launched the PSVR 2. You can turn your nose up to PSVR 2, but PSVR 2 has given them a nice angle in the market. They've got their own VR, and it's getting amazing reviews everywhere. Like, what do you mean? Sony's doing fine. Like, Sony's not absent. You also have to consider the fact that, according to Jeff Grubb, there is going to be a huge showcase in the summer for Sony. So Sony hasn't really said anything yet, which is annoying. I wish they would say more, but that's Sony's marketing strategy, man. I did a whole stream on that. They annoyed the crap out of me with Ragnarok. They just stay quiet, and it's irritating. They're probably going to do the same thing this year. They're going to stay quiet, and then the summer they're going to be like, boom, and they're going to shoot off the cannons. They have bigger third-party games coming out in Game Pass day one, and they have first-party massive games launching, showing your true colors. So you're saying Xbox is going to have a big year, and you're running the third-party games? Your colors are showing. That's so bias-laden. So this is something that I've noticed in these debates. You're sitting here accusing me of being a Sony pony. You're literally wearing a green outfit. You're wearing green underwear on the outside of your pants. I just said Xbox is going to have a good year. But because I'm not throwing confetti in the air and being like, oh, Game Pass is getting a ton of third-party games. What? That has no bearing on it. I didn't name any third-party games for Sony. We have no idea what Sony's doing this year. They've stayed quiet, and you can't count PSVR 2 out. That's been, I think that has been a good land for them. They entered a hardware space with a competitive price entrance point, with an amazing piece of hardware, and people in the VR space are praising it. That's a win for Sony. You might not want to count it. That's fine. That's fine. But I think both consoles, as far as I can tell right now, do we really need to compare? I mean, Microsoft's not done much either. They launched Hi-Fi Rush. And we're hoping everything else is going to be great. They have more first-party games than Sony. Okay, but we don't know that. And even if they do, they're playing catch-up, brother. Did you get my super chat? East Coast Overlord, an analogy. This is the year of Linux. Gaming on Linux finally competing. This is true, but it doesn't mean Windows is dying. That's exactly right. Thank you for the $5 super chat tip. Listen to me, Antichrist. Let's say that Microsoft gets more first-party titles out the door this year. So? That's just that should be celebrated as good for everybody. There's no reason to put on a mask and be like, yeah, Team Xbox. It's Xbox's year. That's just good for gamers. Yay. Xbox is finally catching up. They had no first-party titles last year. All I hear is Xbox is bad. Sony's good. See, this is the problem with people like you. You want to paint me as an Xbox hater because it allows you to get out from underneath anytime I criticize Xbox because you're insecure. I literally said the Xbox ecosystem, the UI is way better. Game Pass is the best deal in gaming. Xbox is set up to have a really good year. I think Starfield's going to be a good game. I'm only concerned about performance. I literally say all these positive things about Xbox, and you say, all I hear is Xbox is bad. Take the frickin' headphones off that make you filter everything through Dum-Dumville. I literally said all these positive things about Xbox. You want to paint me as a Sony pony in a stream that is positive about Xbox because it lets you get out from underneath my criticisms. That's cowardice. That's cowardice. Here we go. Watch, I'm going to get banned. It's almost like, you see what I'm saying? You're predictable. You're predictable. You created your account today. You created your account today. I just checked your account. You literally created your account, the Antichrist. You created your account today. You came in here through insults, got timed out. Now you're running a false narrative about me and trying to provoke a ban. Why? So you can run to Twitter or wherever you hang out and say, yep, all that guy does is ban people who argue with him. You're literally trying to provoke a ban so that you can keep this narrative going of like, yep, that guy Reforge Gaming is a total Sony pony. No cowardice is when you delete people you can't debate. See? Told you. Told you. In here on an alt, running a narrative. I'm just going by what I've been told. Yes, and you come in and you're provoking a ban. Homie, I conceded so many good things for Xbox. Said so many positive things about Xbox, their ecosystem, their UI, Game Pass, the games coming out this year. And you say, all I hear is Xbox is bad. What? Frostbite says, I will say in Lono's defense, I'm still here. Yes, anybody right now that comes in and gets in the ring and debates Xbox with me, feel free to chime in and tell this guy, I don't ban people for debating me. Frostbite's here, JC is still here, Vengeance is here, Big Mad Mo can hang out anytime he wants. He's not here today. Master Jazz is here. Plenty of people come here every time we're talking Xbox, and they'll debate me, and they'll cheer, and they'll shake the banners. They don't get banned. You're baiting a ban on an alt account so you can go and run and tell people, yeah, that guy, that's what he does. He bans people who cheer for Xbox. No, I don't. Jojo with a 10 spot. Just drop it in to show some support. Oh, and you can like both Xbox and PlayStation at the same time. Right, like, everybody's running to my Starfield video. Even, oh no, it's Alex said this. Oh, this guy just needs to buy an Xbox. I have an Xbox Series X. I have an Xbox Series X. I'm going to buy Starfield on it. I'm actually going to buy Starfield. I'm not going to play it on Game Pass. I'm literally going to record myself booting up my Xbox and choosing to buy Starfield. To be like, I'm going to show y'all that I'm going further than you. You want to call me a Sony pony? What Sony pony would do this? JC says, you did not ban me. You did not ban me. Don't agree with him all the time, but I don't want everyone to agree with me. That'd be a boring world. East Coast Overlord, I strongly disagree with Lono's stance on Nintendo exclusives, and I'm still here. Guys like this want to be yeeted because they suck. Brody's like this dare me to block them, and then when instead I embarrass them, they block me. Yeah, I mean, you want to apologize and you want to backpedal because you got caught. You got caught. I went to your profile. You created your profile today. Listen, there might be a lot of hate watchers right now. For whatever reason, viewership spiked. Because I know people are targeting me. I know people are slandering me and posting libelous things on Twitter. Listen to me. Hang out. Watch the show. Judge my character and my integrity not based on what you've seen or heard from other sources. Base it on your own judgment. Have enough self-respect to not let somebody else make up your own mind for you. So anybody hate watching me, anybody who wanted to read the smear nonsense garbage that these people are posting about me on Twitter, have the self-respect to make up your own mind about me. Don't let people with a bias, with a slant, with a vested interest, don't let them make up your mind for you. Do it yourself. I created it for you? Chill out. Don't take it too seriously. I was just testing the waters. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Insulting people is testing the waters? Provoking a ban is testing the waters? Come on. If you genuinely came here and you're like, I'm gonna see what this guy is all about. I'm gonna see what he's all about. If you genuinely did that, then come in here on your main account and interact with me. Don't come in here on some alt. You know, when you hear from quite a few people, you start to think maybe it's true. You should be asking a bigger question. Why are people so scared? Why? Why are people trying to convince you to not watch me? Why are people trying to convince you not to listen to me? That should be your biggest question. Yeah, don't listen to that guy. Don't watch that guy's content. A big red flag. You know those red flags on the side of, like, mailboxes? Bing! A red flag in your brain should instantly go up. Well, why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I listen to this guy? Smear campaign, one-sided reporting from 3 years ago. He was accused of stuff. That's all you got? That's all you got? I'm still standing. What else you got? You got logic? You got reason? You got facts? No? Then sit down and shut the frick up. Keep my name out of your mouth. Unless you're going to actually engage in the discussion. Brap, where's your super chat? A lot of people misunderstood your analogy. People are applying emotion over logic. Why is that still at the top? That's old. Here we go. $5 tip from Brap. Why can't gamers just enjoy their platform of choice instead of winning or deciding who's winning or losing? That's inconsequential to enjoyment. Thank you. I agree. JoJo with a membership renewal, JoJo with a 10 spot, and East Coast with a 5 spot, and that's everybody. Yeah, he's talking rational. That's why he's still here. Listen, I'm genuinely willing to give people a chance. Genuinely willing to give people a chance. You want to come in here and have discussions? Let's do it. Def Side was 16 months. This guy makes me mad when it comes to Xbox, but I know he criticizes everything out of love for games, even in the Destiny days. Thank you, Def Side. I hear the hurt in your voice. Get over it. Xbox is here to stay. All games are good. Sony a bunch of crybabies, though. You know what I'm saying? That's just pure projection. That's just a malicious attack on my character. I have an Xbox Series X. I own more games on the Xbox ecosystem than I do on the Sony ecosystem. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, what hurt in my voice? This stream was literally about, man, I didn't know that Xbox game demos existed. I think this would be a great value add to Game Pass. Did you guys know you can do this? And I show people how to do it. I show people how to go download Xbox game demos. And you want to come in here like some ear-plugged caveman and be like, yeah, you just clearly hate Xbox. Why? Because you read something on Twitter? Have more self-respect for yourself. Don't let people make up your mind for you. Water Marlin was 17 months. Thank you. I'm going to give you an analogy. People often don't understand my analogies. I think you'll be able to understand this one. Have you ever seen a movie review that you thought grossly misrepresented the quality of the movie? And you said, I bet you I'm going to enjoy that movie anyway. I'm going to make up my own mind about that movie. Let's say you see a bunch of movie critics just shredding a movie, and you're like, I still think I'm going to make up my own mind about that movie, right? You don't let the movie critics make up your own mind for you. Now, sometimes you might see really bad reviews from the movie critics and really bad reviews from the audience, and you think, yeah, this might be pretty bad. Most of the time, if you're a big fan of something, or if you really think you're going to enjoy something, you're like, I am not going to let these people make up my mind for you. Give me the same opportunity. Don't let some guy's half-cocked smear attempt on Twitter, don't let all these haters on Twitter make up your mind for you. Come and watch me. Come and hang out. Debate me. If you can debate me and be respectful, you might end up really liking it here. Look at how many of the people regularly debate me about Xbox, and they have like long-standing badges as members. They like it here. They're like, this is fun. That's what I said about Forspoken. Yeah. Like somebody the other day was like, you didn't even play Forspoken. I was like, I played the Forspoken demo and Forspoken on the launch date. I gave it a shot. I didn't think it was a very good game, which was a timed PS5 exclusive, and I was harsh on it. But I'm just a Sony pony. Hey, Reforge, chill out, brother. Just know, I think you got skills like you're a real talker, brother. Cheers. Listen, man. I am a giant advocate for second chances. I'm a giant advocate for people like getting in the ring and having discussions. That's quite literally what my brand has been built upon. I don't ban people for disagreeing with me. That's simply not true. And if you're on Twitter and you're seeing things about me from 2020, we're going to start just saying a very simple statement about that. That stuff is one-sided slanted reporting. Nobody ever covered my side. If you would like to see the only person who attempted to cover my side, Upper Echelon has a video. You should be digging beneath that and asking the question, why are people attempting to smear this man just because he went on an analogy tirade? Just because he ranted about slanted reporting in the gaming press? They're responding to the criticism of slanted reporting in the gaming press with more slanted reporting. That should make you just press the pause button, stop, and think. Just analyze what's going on. Their instinct is to silence this guy. Why? Yeah, come in on your alt. It's weird having somebody talk to you at the same time. Yeah, come in on your main account. I don't like talking to alt accounts. You got a shout out from Foxy Games in his last video and got his attention. Well, and oh no, it's Alex reacted to one of my videos. They didn't mention me, I guess. They talked about my Coke analogy on Colt Eastwood's podcast. Listen, open invitation. I will have those guys on my show. I will come on their show. I am happy to talk to people. I'm happy to debate. I think it could be really, really fun. I think we could show people that some of this console tribalism is just stupid. It's just dumb. Now, I don't know if any of them are going to want to do that because it might upset their fan base. But I don't have any fear in the dojo. We can have a fun show. Let's do a fun show together. You say your side, I say mine. Maybe I have some people that change their mind about you and think, well, I thought that guy was kind of a jerk. He's biased, but he's not a jerk. And maybe you'll have some people that change their mind about me. Like, I just want to create content, baby. I'm not out here trying to like hurt anybody's feelings or hurt anybody's career. You know, I'm just trying to have some fun. I'm just trying to have some conversations. That's all. This guy versus Colt Eastwood? Yeah, I'd be happy to talk to him. I mean, what do I have to be scared of? We don't agree. Okay, cool. Can we get past that and just talk? Like, who cares if we don't agree? That makes for a good show. What do you guys want to have a podcast and just sit around with people? I agree. Like, that's a boring show. I guarantee if you reach out to Cold, he would entertain it. I'm sure he will ask about the 2020 stuff to get your side to be comfortable, but he's a good dude. Any one of those people could spend 15 minutes doing research, and I think they would have a pretty firm grasp on what happened. And if you want to ask me questions, I will gladly answer your questions. Go watch Upper Echelon's video and ask yourself, are accusations really, should they really be considered this strong when they fall to pieces and disappear? That's all you got to do. You just watch Upper's video. Polarin with 18 months. Getting close to that 2 years, mate. Wishing you and the fam all the best. Thank you, Polarin. That I agree chorus was hilarious. Isn't Colt a rage farmer? I don't know. I'm not going to label him anything. He's a person that makes content. If he's playing the game, let him play the game. I don't care about that. Oh no, it's Alex. When he did his response to my video, man, he's in character. He's playing the game. Somebody super chatted him $50 and he took his shirt off. He's playing the game. He's doing a character. Whatever. He didn't slander me. People tried to bring up the 2020 stuff, and oh no, it's Alex. He handled it. I think he handled it with surprising professionalism. Because he obviously comes off kind of like a brute. That's kind of his character, right? He's kind of like that's just what he does. That's not me insulting him. That's just how that's kind of his vibe and his personality. And he surprisingly was super professional about it. He went and read it and he was like, allegations. He apologized. He said it wasn't true. He's like, why would you apologize first? Yeah. He's like, well, I hope he's learned from it and grown from it. And then he moved on. I was sitting there thinking, we need more people like that. I don't care if you want to play a role, if you want to bang on a drum and you want to appeal to an audience. Man, you do you. Get your bag. You do you. Get your bag. I don't care. And if you want to talk to me, as long as we're respectful and it's good entertainment, there's nothing lost there. Yo, Def Side gifted a membership, and it goes to Casper. Goes to Casper. Thank you so much. Taking us to 29. If we hit 50 members, I got to gift 10 total members. So thank you guys for a huge turnout today. Amazing like ratio. We got close to 600 viewers there for a little bit, so let's try to get 400 likes. We only need about 25 more likes. Colt is unapologetically an Xbox supporter, but last night he didn't bash, name drop, etc. It was a professional discussion, so I know he would entertain the discussion. And I would be totally open to it. I would. Maybe I throw him a follow on Twitter and we'll see what happens, just to strike up the conversation. It's not about Colt. It's not about, oh no, it's Alex. It's not about any individual person. It's just, if you're going to hear something on Twitter and come here guns loaded and ready to go, you might be surprised how I'm like, yeah, what are you doing? Why are you trying to provoke me? What's the point of that? Cowboy says, I consider myself a new viewer to this channel. I enjoy it and I watch almost every day. I think Lono brings up good topics for people to discuss, and he backs up his opinions with facts. I appreciate that, Cowboy. I thought cancel culture was overplayed until I saw it in action. Legit took me by surprise. Well, they're not achieving anything now other than making the brand like radioactive. Like, people are gonna be like, I don't want to go on a show with that guy. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to isolate me. That doesn't work. I had it done to me once before. All right, see you later, Antichrist. And again, I would encourage you to please come in on your main account, not an alt account. I don't like alt accounts. I don't feel like there's good accountability there. JC says, to bring it more so on topic, I think the halfway version of game demos is the cloud. Being able to try out games without having to install them is a big plus for me. Yeah, and I, again, JC, think if they bake that into Game Pass, think about how strong that makes Game Pass look. We're expanding Game Pass. ID at Xbox is joining Game Pass. Every month, you'll have game demos that you can try out. You can even try them out on the cloud if you want. It'll expose you to more games and give you the opportunity to maybe support some indie studios. That's a strong look, as long as, again, it doesn't replace the games they're giving you every month. That would make it look like Game Pass is expanding and getting stronger. Willie Ko with 8 months. Tribalism's ridiculous. PlayStation versus Microsoft, Marvel versus DC, Star Wars versus Star Trek. Just enjoy what you enjoy. Yeah, and you know what's funny is I enjoy all those. I enjoy both PlayStation and Microsoft, both Marvel and DC, both Star Wars and Star Trek. Yo, Detonator! Woo, that's a big one. He pushes us to 39 members on the day. He drops a 10 bomb. That's the kind of community that we have here. We're generous. We're kind. We debate. We're professional to a certain degree. We're mature to a certain degree. Thank you very much for doing that, Detonator. Very, very kind. Muhammad, Terminal Hotspot, ETP, Sinister Pooger, Lewis, Trey, Black, Yahuan, George Perez, and Marty. You guys all got gifted memberships. You are allowed in the gifted, you're allowed in the members only Discord, and we do members only content virtually every day. We kind of debrief on the day, how it's gone, and then we do Friday night streams. You're not going to want to miss this Friday night. Me and Hilly are joining forces again for Hilly Hijinks. It's fun. He's a Brit. I'm not. We drink, we laugh. We'll be playing Diablo 4, and it's members only. Rainbow is going to push us a little bit closer to the next milestone, taking us to 44 members on the day with a 5 gifted bomb. Thank you so much, Rainbow. That is very generous. Star Wars is better, though. Star Trek's more consistent. I like Star Wars more because I grew up with it more, but Star Trek's more consistent. Gaines, Lewis, Call Me Jay, Travis, Ben Dejo, and then Daniel Perez decides to pay it forward. So Daniel gets a gifted member, he pays forward another gifted member, and it goes to an emoji. I don't know whose name that is. That rounds us out to 45. 45 members on the day. Suede says, I don't want to get lumped into the Sony shell camp. But aren't all of those things what PS Plus is doing? Demos, cloud streaming, etc. They even have a demo section that's easy to find. Yes, but that's PlayStation Plus Premium, Suede. The game trials is a PlayStation Plus Premium feature, and its demos are not the same as trials. Yeah, I love how that guy's name is Ben Dejo. That's good. Ben Dejo. I wondered if anybody was going to hear that. It's Pen, isn't it? Pendejo? Or Vende? I can't remember. Oh, Deceive Incorporated launched today as well on Steam. That's that, like, kind of like an Among Us style game. We got a bunch of new subscribers today as well, so welcome on in. Almost forgot, before I go, you know about Chat GPT? You should look it up. Want to make serious money? Good luck. Oh, I mean, I know about the chat, the AI. See, it's Pendejo. Yeah. Head Killer, good to see you. He's like, yeah, it's Pen. You just cursed in Spanish. Oh no, we're gonna get marked. We're gonna get marked for limited advertisements. Quick, say good things, wholesome things. Mr. Rogers, Reading Rainbow. There's gonna be a decent announcement later this year from a company with software in their name about a game that'll be right up your alley. FromSoft is doing something? I saw some leaks about that. Do we know game type? I was never a fan of Star Wars. In fact, never watched one of the Star Wars. Always liked the character development in Star Trek. I just think lore-wise, world-wise, building-wise, they just did a better job. They were just more consistent. Right? All right, see you, Smashville. Good to see you. Stay safe. Just tuned in. What did I miss? All right, let me give you guys a show recap. If you want, we need 5 more members to get to 50. That'll help us hit our second daily goal. Every 25, I get 5. Brap, Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, decided to become a member. I actually like that. I want to see way more people become members on their own. If you've never done a membership on YouTube before, try it out. You can click the join button or the $ button at the bottom of the chat. Sometimes they give you a discount on your first membership. If you enjoy this show, if you listen to this show on a regular basis, that supports me directly. You will notice I've been streaming for 2 hours. It's been nonstop back and forth. No dead air. No advertisements. The way I can do that is with a thriving member base. So help us hit to our milestones. Help us maintain a very healthy membership base, and the show can continue. It's coming out of Canada Studio. It'll be a looter. Oh, okay. What upper echelon video are you talking about earlier? If you go to Upper's channel, people in chat can tell you what to search for. If you go to Upper Echelon's channel, you can search for a certain video. Just search for the word conspiracy and you'll probably find it. Anyways, let me give you guys a bit of a recap. Let's shoot for 400 likes on the video. That'll help this video find more people. So, the Xbox game demos that... the reason I said, how did I miss this, is I've been promoting the idea and even pushing for the idea of Microsoft or Xbox making Xbox Game Pass have more to it. It's sort of my belief that we're at about 2,500 members, by the way. You guys are maintaining 2,500 members, which is incredible. At 3,000, you will unlock a Just Dance stream. Antichrist Colts alt. I don't think so. There you go. Abe just told you guys, and Jaggy Snake just told you guys what to search for. I'm not trying to get into all that. If you want information, if you want to see my side of what happened, there you go. That video will help you out. Well, there was other videos too. There's 2 other videos because they tried to false copyright strike that video because they're scared of the information that's in it. Gee, I wonder why the pattern is constantly trying to silence me. Isn't that interesting? Or silence the story about me. Isn't that interesting? Anyway. Game demos have been a thing that Microsoft has pushed since the summer of 2020. They do a summer game demo event. They do a winter game demo event. And that rhythm is tied to ID at Xbox. And so they're pushing out independent games and telling you, hey, you can go check them out as demos. Now, the demo events only last for like 7 days, and then those demos are removed. to try to promote the game that's coming, to try to promote purchases. A lot of those games did not end up on Game Pass. I checked 3 different game demo events, and only Tinykins ended up on Game Pass. So it was my argument this morning, like, hey, this is great that they're doing this, but you have to find it in a really, really weird way. Right now, let me get my controller back on. Right now, I'm in the game demo category, but this is how you get there. You actually open up your Xbox and search demos, and then it shows you the category. So 1/4 dude kind of covered it, but yeah, there's no reason to watch his. His is too long, and he doesn't even really get into the good stuff. Yeah. So that's it. That's how you get to it. You actually have to search for it, and then you see it up here, you click on it, and then there's this whole category. And I actually think this could be a really, really good value add for Xbox Game Pass. I'm excited for Resident Evil 4. Now the debate will be, what is better, the survival horror remake this year between that and Dead Space? I have a feeling that Resident Evil 4 is going to get more praise than Dead Space. Just a theory. Work keeps getting in the way. I don't have a great way to confirm in the office, but I'm pretty sure the demo section on the PlayStation Store is actual demos, not trials. Okay, Suede, we need to be clear about something. That's helpful. There are game demos that are initiated by the developers. There's a demo section on both PlayStation and Xbox, and it's just all the game demos that the developers send. You can even see it because the artwork has the word demo on it, like they submit their own artwork. The game demo events with Xbox is completely separate from that. It's something that Xbox initiates. It's like an ID at Xbox thing. They push out this thing. They say, yeah, here you go. This is how long you can play them, and then they remove them. It's not just like, oh yeah, we're adding some game demos to the demo library. It's bigger than that. Really, demos are for people who don't have Game Pass. There are people who might buy the game. Yeah, and imagine if they suddenly put those game demos and they suddenly couched ID at Xbox. They couched it in Game Pass, increasing the value for all the people on Game Pass, giving a bunch of people a reason to get onto Game Pass. These are all ways to make Game Pass more valuable, to make it more sticky, right? I think that's it. Like that's one of the things you could do. You could say, hey, there's a lot of reason here to stay on Game Pass, man. They're constantly adding stuff. They're constantly giving me ways to play more games. Storm renewing his membership to 16 months, and it's a VIP plus. Welcome back in, Storm. You know the Back to the Future movies? Used to did a girl at babysat? Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe good for Game Pass, bad for every dev? Why would it be bad for a dev for people to try a game, and if they like it, they buy it? Imagine that you could be on the front page of Game Pass and your demo is good and people that play the demo are given the option to buy it. How? In what universe is that bad for the dev? How does that translate into anything bad for the dev? Because you can have breakout titles. Just go to the store? No, this would be something different. This would be something different. You guys, see, this is what always amazes me is people like, just leave everything the same. That's weird. I thought defending the status quo was wrong. This would be a way to say, hey, Game Pass price has to go up. And if Game Pass price has to go up, we're going to increase the value. ID at Xbox is joining Game Pass. So you'd have free monthly games and new indie demos every month. Dev gets money for games on Game Pass. Demos get nothing. They need the player to buy the game, so the demo has to be a good game or they get nothing. Frostbite, don't you think it's interesting that they already have an initiative for this? They push out demos in the summer and they push out demos in the winter. You can play them for 7 days and then they take them back down out of the demos. Like, that motivates people to buy games, right? So that would save Microsoft money, wouldn't it? Hey, there's some really, really great indie titles coming. Our team at ID at Xbox has vetted some of these demos. Some of these demos are really, really good. We don't have to pay the devs any money. We'll just throw it on the Game Pass hopper, ID at Xbox game demos, and it can generate revenue all on its own. We didn't have to pay them any money. We didn't have to write them some fat check. It's going to help them to be on this hopper. Don't you see? They don't have to spend the money. They don't have to write a fat check to some company. Hey, your demo is really good. ID at Xbox tells us that this demo is one of the better demos they've seen. We're going to throw it on our monthly Game Pass ID at Xbox demos funnel. You don't have to write that developer a check. You just throw them on there. And the developer's not going to fight you. They're like, great. We made that demo hoping that it would convince people to buy our game. Thanks for doing that. That sounds awesome. That's a win-win. That's a win-win. Like, what's with all this defending the status quo? I thought that the status quo was toxic. Do a poll for how many people pre-ordered Resident Evil 4? No. Now you're trying to hijack the stream with like complete side issues and distracting comments. I feel like I know who you are. Pulling from a bag of tricks that you pulled from before. You come in, you try to disrupt, try to get banned, try to be hateful, and now you're trying the art of subterfuge. Well, I'll just completely bring up random comments and try and distract from the subject. I'll ban you for that, and then you can't claim I banned you for disagreeing with me on Xbox. Are you excited for Diablo 4? Very much so. If you want to know my thoughts, I did a stream yesterday on the good and the bad from Diablo 4. Yes. I did that yesterday. There's been a couple of people in chat that have said they have had issues with not getting gifted. If anyone knows how to troubleshoot those issues, that would help immensely. Allow gifts. There's an allow gifts command. Allow gifts will let you toggle gifting off and then back on again. That might help. The key thing here is that those demos would rotate in opposed to what there is now, which remains permanent. Oh, can I play? Can we do a poll with people that drink their coffee too hot, too cold, or just right? Me personally, I've been convinced to buy a game, any game especially when a demo is available. Good demos do sell games. That's right. He's been away for a while. He just needs some of Daddy's attention. Yeah, apparently. He can't get my attention on Twitter because everybody else is signing up to hate me. Everybody else is signing up to hate me. VGC reports that Microsoft has said 10 years is long enough for Sony to develop rival offerings to the Call of Duty franchise should Xbox acquire Activision's shooter series. Now, why would they say that? Why would they say that? I wonder if that betrays intentions. We'll have to take a look at that later. We'll have to take a look at that later. Gee. Thanks, Brap. Brap sent me that in a DM. I wonder why they would say that. Look, man, we're not going to take Call of Duty away. You don't have anything to worry about. But, I mean, listen, if push comes to shove, you've got plenty of time to make a competitor. Well, why would I need to do that? Why would I need to do that? I don't understand. What do you got planned over there? That's interesting. I wonder why you keep stressing 10 years. Almost as if it's a giant red herring. And you know how long-tailed the industry is. Interesting. Unless it's an old quote. You implying that they might make COD exclusive? Yeah. Are you implying that Microsoft might actually have to, or Sony might actually have to, like, worry about the status of Call of Duty, right? In 2 years? Oh, in 10 years, I mean? Come on. I sent you a message on Twitter. Not sure if you get it. Get a lot sometimes. The downtime to read, I appreciate it. Keep it up, man. Narwaffle, you sent me a DM? You send it on my big Twitter account or my little Twitter account? Oh, here it is. Watch the Upper Echelon video. Just wow. Been a fan and a member for 10 months. Honestly, had never seen your content before the canceling went down. Just want to tell you how strong you have been. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Any good thinking person that actually investigates that and looks into it is gonna, it'll frickin' blow your dadgum hair back. Thanks for 10 months, Narwaffle. It'll blow your dadgum hair back. Just do it. Just take 15 minutes. 15 minutes. It'll feel like you've watched some bombshell documentary. You're like, no way. Yeah. I left a message for you on your Halo video. Billy. Yo, Quentin came in. Let's do this. Let's do this. Guys, listen. No gifted members. No. I want a moratorium on gifteds. Thank you. That takes us to 47. I need 3 brand new members right now. If you've never done a membership before, be one of the people that pushes us to 50. Do not let these gifted people take this from you. All right? Don't let them take it from you. I want 3 people right now. It's a race. Do not let the gifted steal this from you. Hit the join button. I need 3 people right now. Don't let them do it. Now I'm going to give some. No, it's a race. It's a race. Give them 5 minutes, Lone Wolf. Give them 5 minutes. How's it only going to take 15 minutes when the video is 23 minutes long? What parts of the video should I not watch? Put the video on 1.2 or 1.5. Speed the video up. Is it really a 20-minute video? Transmissions from a space boat! You disobedient, you naughty boy. Gifting when I say not to. Taking us to 48. Grimlock Prox gets one. Low-key almost gifted. Come on! I need people to do their own memberships. Don't gift it. Cut out all the times he mispronounces Lono. It's 15 minutes. What benefits come with membership? You get into our members-only Discord, and you get into our members-only content. We do a members-only debrief at the end of every day, for the most part. Some days we don't do it if we run out of time. But we do a members-only stream where I debrief. I might talk about some of the drama, because I don't want to talk about it publicly. And then I do Friday night streams with my wife. This Friday night, I'll be doing a stream with Hilly. Oh, you fricks. You 50 members. Thanks so much, Quentin and Rainbow. Thanks, Abe. Oh, gosh. It's all I ask. It's all I ask is just for a little obedience every now and again, you know? Just do what I say, and you guys can't do it. Whatever. No, I tell you what. Consequence time. Now Yin's gonna get punished. Zelda Heart with a month. The message is highlighted. Also, Lono is the best for doing safer work. East Coast Overlord gifted a membership, taking us to 52. If this doesn't hit 75, I'm not doing a member stream with you guys because you disobeyed. So I'll go play video games before I debrief with Creature. I'll take the afternoon off. So thank you, Kale. 53. If this doesn't hit 75, I'm taking the afternoon off. That's what you get for disobeying. You guys want to cross Papa? You want to cross Daddy? No? I'll start taking stuff away then. So, it's your fault. Your fault. I am not joking. I'm not joking. Frick you. When I say I want a moratorium on memberships and I want people to jump in on their own, frick you for disobeying. You don't get an afternoon show if this doesn't hit 75. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Taking us to 54. 54 members on the day. Thank you so much, Matasbo. You think I'm kidding? I am not kidding. I will plant my butt on my couch and I will play Ghost of Tsushima. You better hit 75. Because you don't have a ton of time. 900 IQ play. You got more members here. So now you have to get more members. That's right. All you had to do was chill and let somebody get us to 50. That's all you had to do was behave yourselves. Darth Biscuit with a $5 tip. What video were you talking about? If you're hate watching, if you're watching from the crowd, if you've never seen me before and you're seeing crap slung on Twitter, go to Upper Echelon and look for his video about Say No to Rage. If anybody on Twitter wants to sling mud or spread lies, just do that. Link them to that video. Be like, yep, you're only covering one side of the story. Here's the other side. Just continue to call them to the mat for inaccurate reporting, slanted reporting. They're not allowed to do that. We do not give quarter to one-sided reporting and slander and libel. We give no quarter to it. Best community on YouTube. Thank you, Pinoy Prince, for 6 months. I stand in solidarity with Lono. If we don't hit 75, I won't do posts today either. Lono can spend all day on the couch. Yeah, Elliot! Elliot jumping in, taking us to 55. We're now a crisp 20 from 75. Thank you, Elliot, for jumping in. Guys, make sure you sync up your Discord with your YouTube so you can get into our members. Elliot, welcome in, Elliot. That's right. Do you know Elliot, Goddess? You know Elliot? I feel like I've seen his picture before. I feel like I've seen that picture before, like I know you from somewhere, from some other time. Lone Wolf's going to give us 5, pushes it to 60. We're now 15 away. Just got to school. There you go. Work and Lurk gets one. Jared, Typhus, New Fairy, Crush Signal. There we go. Cowboy says, Lono, I just watched the video yesterday because in my Discord people were talking about it, so somebody shared the video to add clarity. It was a good video for sure, which gave a lot of clarity. Thank you, Cowboy. Yo, Quentin's going to gift another one, taking us to 61 members on the day. And Zyber's going to push us all the way to 71 with a 10 bomb. Kale's going to drop a 10 bomb and push us to 81. All right, you guys saved it. Write this down. Oh, yeah, sorry, Sven. Sven did a $15 super chat. I think it was a $15 super chat. Siege Master does 5, taking us to 86. 86 members on the day. Which one am I getting? Hang on, I'm going to do it right now. I'm just going to add it to the cart. Where's my Total Wine app? Thank you so much. Blood King, welcome back as a member. Goose Island Hazy Beer Hug. Goose Island Hazy Beer. Hazy Beer Hug. Not the tropical one, just the regular one, right? Hazy Beer Hug. It's a yellow box, a purple bear. What are we doing here? What's the ABV on that? 6.9? Yeah, I think this is the right one. Delivery's available. It's good stuff. All right, I'm adding it. Thank you for paying for that, Sven. Yeah, if you guys ever want to make drink recommendations, you got to pay for it. I'm not buying. I know what I like, so if you want me to try something new, you got to do what Sven did. Thank you so much. You guys went crazy. crazy. 86. You know what happened last time, Hilly? I had some beer dropped off. He's like, yeah, we don't have any brew dog. And I was like, what? I didn't react that way. I was like, what? Yeah, yellow box. Okay, I added it to the cart, Sven. I added it to the cart. Me and Hilly I'll have some this Friday with Hilly. I will have some this Friday. All right. I'm not going to make you guys hit 100, but we are within 14 of 100 members on the day. Let me give you a total membership count. You guys are basically maintaining 2,500. So if you guys want to have a crazy day, 2492. That's not right. Let me refresh. I know that's not right. We were at 2492 a moment ago. 2526. 2,526 members. There you go. Try Voodoo Ranger. It's 9%. I do a Sierra Nevada Big Little thing, and it's a 9%. I like that one. Recap, please. What's good, Drummond? So there have been Game Pass demos on... I'm sorry. There have been Xbox game demos on the system for a while. You have to search for demos in the actual store itself. I'll show you how to do it right now. And I said that I was surprised that I missed this. They actually do these game demo events every summer and winter. And I was arguing that it would be amazing for them to take the game demos and ID at Xbox, their independent developers initiative at Xbox. ID at Xbox is not id Software, it's ID at Xbox. And to marry that in Game Pass, because I actually think, surprisingly enough, when you go into this category, this is the only way you have to find it. You actually have to find it by searching. It's very, very, very full. This is a great value to Xbox players if you want to try a bunch of these games out before buying them, because virtually all of these are not on Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? So if you're like, oh, was the Lego Hobbit game any good? You know, you can try it out before buying it. Yo, Limitless Gaming shaves one off there and takes us to 87 members on the day. Welcome back in. Or I'm sorry, not welcome back in. Welcome in smoking. Tropical Beer Hug is 9. It's a 9? Woo! That sounds good. That sounds really good. Daddy Chill, thank you for 14 months, Skip Toasty. Welcome back in. Yeah, I remember when we saw the I thought I remember seeing the commercials for that. The Hellboy thing. The Hellboy cartoon or whatever. Lance Riddick did the voice. How do I get into the Discord? You can use the Discord link below in the description. You can use the link in chat right now, discord.gg/ReforgeTV. I've noticed PS5 has a section for demos, but I don't know how long it's been there, just recently noticed. The thing to point out here is there are a lot of game demos that are initiated by the developer. They send the artwork, they send the demo, they send the slice. This thing that Microsoft has been doing with ID at Xbox is something that they promote and push, and for 7 days you can try a bunch of games out. And that's why I said, if you're going to be making this initiative and these games do not end up on Game Pass a lot of the times, that seems like a great way for them to marry it to Game Pass. To be like, hey, you're getting more value. You get monthly free games every month. And you get game demos as well. The PS5 demos have been there for forever. Yeah. The PS5 demos are not a Sony initiative. It's not like the game trials that you get for PS5 Premium. It's different. Boulevard has a nasty beer that's 12%. Woof. My gosh. Ooh, I was trying to pop my neck and it wasn't happening. A demo version versus a regular game that cuts you off. The latter wasn't possible in the pre-cloud days, which is why the former was the only way. Right, and Rich, I think that's a good word because you could literally take Microsoft's got good cloud technology, Game Pass is a great value, bridge the gap between the two and say, hey, game demos are coming to Game Pass, right? Are you a beer or liquor person? I'm a beer guy. My wife is a bourbon person. She likes Woodford Reserve, just neat. No ice, no nothing. So, I don't mind a little bourbon, you know? My problem with bourbon is one shot, like, it doesn't, it's like, it tastes good, but it's like I'm done with it super fast. I need a little bit more. And the problem is you get a little bit more and then, you know, your head feels like it weighs too much the next day. I prefer, you know, I used to hate IPAs, and then people recommended some good ones, and now that's pretty much all I drink. Whiskey Neat says, neat, that's right. Which room in the Discord is members only? Basically, all of the rooms are members only. You've got to sync your account, and you'll be able to see all the other rooms. Right now, you can probably see the general room. Yeah, I can see some of you guys have joined. I can see you've joined, but you've not synced your accounts. Because once you sync your account, go to your user settings, go to connections, and link it to your YouTube. You'll get all these roles in my Discord that open up all these rooms. I like rum more than liquor, I will say that. I really liked when I had Kraken and coconut rum in the house. That's dangerous. I don't keep it in the house anymore because I would drink it way too much. I can't have it in the house. It's just too easy to make yourself a drink every night. It's like, oh, it's so tasty. Brewdog Stunt Double or Black Heart. All right, hang on, Hilly. Yo, Prowl is bringing some people over. That's my man right there. That's my man. Prowl is a very nice guy. You guys definitely need to check out his content. Click on his name once he's in chat. Stunt. Brewdog Stunt Double. Black Heart. Hang on. I don't know, Hilly. I'm not seeing it. Brewdog Black Heart. If you guys are coming over with the Prowl raid, welcome on in. Brewdog Hellcat. Elvis Juice. Elvis AF. Their Christmas Vacation is around. Punk IPA. Yeah, sorry, Hilly. Looks like we're striking out here. Oh my gosh. Kraken Black Roast. Good night. They have a Brewdog mix pack that has Elvis Hazy and 2 seasonals. Roasting Mystery. Yeah, sorry, Hilly. You have to think of something else. Swing and a miss. You have to think of something else. Forgot I got a gifted membership. Yep, you do. The way I stop drinking too much vodka is just to buy 1 bottle of Mixer a week. Yeah, I had to stop, man. Prowl Raid. Everybody come over to the Prowl Raid. Welcome on in. We've been talking about Xbox game demos and how I missed this and didn't realize it was a thing. And I think it should be something that they interweave with Game Pass. And if you like the coverage, if you like, you know, variety gaming news coverage, I'm also a Safe for Work broadcaster. Make sure and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for bringing everybody over, Prowl. Guys, make sure and click on Prowl's name when he types in chat. Go throw him a sub. Check out his stuff. Elvis Juice, get that? All right, hang on. Elvis Juice. Add. All right, got it. Thank you, Hilly. Kraken's the GOAT. Oh, Kraken's so freaking dangerous. Kraken is so dangerous. It's so aptly named because you drink it and you're like, well, that was pretty good. And you don't feel anything. Then you have another one. And then an hour goes by and you're like, woo, that was just, I'm going to have a third. It sneaks up, buddy. Kraken sneaks up on you and pulls you down. It's a perfect name. Funny story, says Talika. First encounter with Rom. I was at a conference in Cancun, Mexico for the telecommunications industry. You told this story before. Passed out diagonally across the bed with a laptop in front of me. Woke with the boss calling me because I was late for orientation in the conference and still had no luggage. Yeah, you've told that story before, Talica. Talica gets wasted when she goes on business trips. I got this for my birthday 2020. It's good stuff. What is that? Is that scotch? It is. It's scotch. I knew by looking at the bottle. I was like, that's got to be scotch. Gin tastes like a Christmas tree, and scotch is too spicy. Scotch has like a spice. It's hot. It's like, ugh. Woodford's got like a smooth sweetness to it. I can't. That's it. That's the whiskey for me. I noticed that Lono had a jacket during the show open. Now it's just a shirt. Yeah, I took my hoodie off. I was getting too hot. Funny how drinks hit people differently. Yeah. What are you talking about, Eugene? Eugene says EULA and licensing software versus ownership case law is over a decade old. Software as a license is not a new concept. We didn't have the platform that also be able to take away. Pretty much once you had something, you could do whatever you wanted with it. Yeah, no, I agree with what Eugene is saying, man. That is not. We've been under TOS, EULAs, and license agreements for a long time. Favorite is Hypnodio. Guys, we hit a huge membership milestone today. If you want to help add on to it, when we hit 100, I'm going to owe you 20 members. We only need 13 more. If you want to do it one at a time, if you came in with the Prowl Raid, if you got gifted a membership, you can pay it forward. You can gift one member at a time. Thank you, everybody who helped us hit such a huge number today. We will be heading to a members-only stream in a little while, and that's just a great way for us to debrief on the day, on the show. Usually on Tuesdays, we look at a bunch of new trailers. I completely forgot to last week because we got caught up in the drama and me kind of responding to some of the crap that's been going on. I think we have a good game plan. I'm going to try and kind of orient you guys to what we want to do when people want to sling mud and lies on Twitter. Eugene says, we didn't need Cloud to add a timer to a game for a trial. We had timers on software trials for a long time. That is true. That is true. This is a good video. Yeah, I'm reporting you for spam. Buy YouTube views. You are so freaking stupid. Yeah, and hide the user on my channel. I'm glad they've added that to the workflow. For the longest time, I would like report a spammy comment, and I'm like, is it going to hide them on my channel? It's clearly a bot. Like, reporting them is great, but I also want to hide them. I want to do both. They've made it to now where I can report the comment for spam and hide them on the channel. I think that's a great decision from YouTube to give us a multifaceted function. I never knew demos were a secret. I've seen them since last gen. It's just weird how they're kind of hidden. You know what I mean? Chat has no chill with gifted these days. New demos feature? It's not a new feature. It's just weird. So here's all the demos, right? There's a bunch of them. You have to go to search and type demos, and then it's this category up here like this. Like, this is how Xbox literally tells you to get to the demos. It's just kind of odd. Eugene says, for example, Microsoft Office, Adobe, even Windows going back decades has had timers for their software. You don't need cloud. Yeah, I think that's fair pushback. Could you break those trials easily, though? Like changing the date on your PC? Well, usually demos back in the day... back in the day of Xbox Arcade, it was just a slice of the game with a baked-in timer. You couldn't really get around it. You would literally get to a point in the game, bing, and it would pop up and say you can't go any farther. Did you see the breaking news? Xbox admitted to the CMA they plan to take Call of Duty off of PlayStation after the 10-year deal, citing that Sony has more than enough time to make a competitor. Yay, I can't wait to talk about that tomorrow. Are you, Shelly, are you being accurate? Did they in fact 100% admit that, or are they passively admitting it by saying PlayStation has plenty of time to make a competitor? I definitely feel like we're going to have to run with that tomorrow, but my gosh, am I tired of the drama that comes with it. We are going to aspire to be better and have better coverage. I don't have any plans to call anybody out or name any names, you know. That's not the goal with my coverage going forward. Can we not? That's not what they said, but I digress. What's your source? VGC. VGC reported on a little while ago. It does seem strange that they would be saying that. Just show the puppy from Diablo. What's good, Rissick? Please read the entire document. JC, who are you talking to? I'm the document reading guy. I'm not going to summarize it with a bullet point. I'm going to put pictures up like I've always done. Like, I think I still have these scenes created. This is who you're dealing with, brother. This is the kind of coverage you're going to get. I'll take a look at it. Don't you worry, baby. Being heavily implied. No one has said it. Well, we'll get a ton of views tomorrow. Xbox finally admits it. That's my thumbnail. And I'll put devil horns on Phil Spencer. I am 100% kidding about the devil horns because I can't stand those thumbnails that people do. The devil horns, the crying tears. Grow the frick up. I think JC's just generically saying, please everybody go read it. I don't think JC was telling me to read it. Is that the document, Eugene? Is that the document, baby? Okay. I got it. Read it. Settle down. Settle down, Eugene. Read it. How many pages are we looking at? 26. Okay. F. So, Lono, how would you rate your personal enjoyment playing Diablo 4? For me, I was hooked. 10 out of 10. Let's hug. Agreed. I loved it. I loved it. The animation changes that they made and the sound design, the moment-to-moment action in the combat was just... I could play that game. I could eat a peach for hours. I could play Diablo 4 for hours. How's the day going so far? What's good, Mac, man? It's good. It's been a good day. I absolutely loved it. I think they nailed it. I think they nailed the feel of combat. They nailed the boss fights. It's wonderful. It's everything that I want. Yesterday, I gave the good and the bad. The only bad stuff really was, queue times and lag. Queue times and lag. There were some weird moments where my character got stunned and I couldn't tell why. I would freeze everybody, and I had my sorcerer set up to, if I killed them while they were frozen, it gave my freeze cooldown like a bump. So instead of taking 10 seconds, it would take 5 or 6. At the Remedy's hearing, the CMA asked Microsoft if the 10-year duration is sufficient and whether there would be a cliff's edge for Sony at the end of the period. The 10-year period is redacted. Microsoft considers that a period of 10 years is sufficient for Sony as a leading publisher and console platform to develop alternatives for Call of Duty. The 10-year term will extend into the next console generation, redacted. Moreover, the practical effect of the Remedy will go beyond the 10-year period, since games downloaded in the final year of the Remedy can be played for the lifetime of the console, and beyond that with backwards compatibility. COD is an entertainment franchise which is already nearly 20 years old. Microsoft will need to secure the broadest distribution of the franchise and will be heavily incentivized to keep it on the PlayStation platform. There's that wonderful incentivized word again. Microsoft considers that having maintained COD on PlayStation and grown its player base on Nintendo GeForce Now and other cloud gaming platforms for the decade, it will have no incentive or indeed ability to take a COD exclusive. They're saying the same thing they said with ZeniMax. The same language. 10-year term is longer than the previous licensing remedy put in place in 2015, which was a period of 8 years. It's in line with the 10-year terms imposed by this thing in 2023 with the Bauer Media Group. This period is also in line with access commitments accepted by the European Commission. So they're just citing other deals, not COD deals, but they're just saying this is a standard. Okay. That classic talking out of both sides of their mouth. We have no incentive of taking it off. But 10 years is plenty of time for them to create a Call of Duty alternative. What? Where's VGC getting this info? I was just reading the document. Eugene just put the document that the VGC's report is on in the Discord. I was just literally reading the document, the official CMA document. Yeah, the incentive language is hilarious. They said the same exact thing about ZeniMax. Yeah, we have no incentive to do that. And then they do it. Do you want to know what killed me when I watched Oh No, It's Alex response to my video? They think... It blew my mind. He thinks two things that just absolutely blow my mind. I would love to react to the video, but he constantly has to stop, and he swears a lot, and he's constantly getting super chats, and it's like this would be a disaster. He thinks two things that are just insane to me. Unsubstantiated, by the way. Number one, they think that case by case applies to leaving games on PlayStation, which... That's not what they were referring to when they said case by case. So you're ripping case by case out of context. Phil Spencer himself said, going forward, we would handle new games on a case by case basis. So you cannot say, well, it is case by case. They left titles on. They didn't rip them off. You are misapplying that term. That is egregious treatment of the text. That is not what they were referring to when they said case by case. They were talking about new games. The other thing that they think, he said this, they left those games on there. That was a nice thing to do. They honored those contracts. They have to. That they're legally required to honor those contracts. Do you understand acquisition law? Like when you acquire a company, you acquire the company's contracts. And you are obligated to honor those contracts. You don't get out of the contracts because now the ownership's different. Do you have any idea how fraudulent that would be? Oh man, we signed a contract. It's turning out to be a real bad deal for us. How are we going to get out of this? Just have your dad buy the company for $1. We'll change the parent company name, and then we can get out of the contract. Brain dead. Just brain dead. No business acumen at all. You're not being nice. You're literally doing what you're required to do. You can't just buy a company and be like, none of those contracts matter now. Yeah, you have to honor them or buy them out. You're not being nice. You're required to do it. It'd be such an easy way out. It'd be such an easy way out of the contract. Yeah, we're going to sell our company to our dad for $1. Yep, new parent company, new ownership. Yep, we can get out of those contracts now. Don't have to abide by them. Case by case means we might put new games in other places. Yeah, it's just insane to me because like he's trying to assert that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, brother, you don't understand the basics of what you're talking about. You don't understand the basics of what you're talking about. Like, if you buy a company, you gotta honor the contracts. That's a legal thing. You're not being nice. And secondly, when they said case by case, they were not referring to leaving games on the devices that were already there. Contextually speaking, go read the documents. Case by case was going forward with respect to new games. Phil Spencer himself said that in the most recent interview that he did with Xbox On. case by case with respect to new games. And they're like, it is case by case. They left Elder Scrolls Online on the PlayStation. That's not what they're talking about. Yeah, we're going to handle all the ZeniMax property, all, future property, case by case basis. Once they own ZeniMax. Yeah, that's all our property now. It's exclusive now. What happened to case by case? That's a sweeping statement. And that's what these people say. They say that to get out from underneath of it because they know it's bogus. They know it's bogus. Yeah, it is case by case. Yeah, they left Elder Scrolls Online on PlayStation. What? That's not what they were talking about. All right, see you, Quentin. Thanks for all the gifteds, Quentin. All right, guys, you have roughly 5 minutes. If you want to take a bunch of people hostage and bring them over to a members-only stream, we need 13 more to hit 100, and then I'll gift 20 before we end the day. So if you're going to do it now. Hurry up. You're running out of time. I wonder why Sony removed Destiny from Game Pass after acquiring Bungie. They don't want property underneath their ownership on Game Pass. I'll agree COD is slowly losing its grasp on FPS genre, but the grasp is still in place. A good game with a great gunplay and new hype might dethrone it. Yeah. That's going to be fun coverage tomorrow. I've read one page of the document, and I'm like, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. I did a breakdown reaction to the Jedi Survivor trailer on my Reforge Rundown channel, Quarterfish. It went live a little bit ago. Why does a free game need to be on Game Pass? Yeah, why does Destiny need to be on Game Pass anyway? Is he talking about Shadowkeep? Because they put Shadowkeep on Game Pass. Destiny was never on Game Pass. Destiny's a free-to-play game. They put Shadowkeep on Game Pass, didn't they? No, Forkknife didn't dethrone it. Forkknife's just another game out there playing. Destiny had a year contract with Game Pass. When it ended, it left. Sony has no say on what Bungie does with Destiny. For now. Yeah, Beyond Light was also on Game Pass. That's right. I might have misspoke. I don't think it was Shadowkeep that they put on Game Pass. I think I misspoke. I think it was Beyond Light that they put on Game Pass. Maybe they did both. I can't remember. I know for a fact they put Beyond Light on Game Pass. I remember that. But you had to buy the season or something. It was weird. All right, you guys have 3 minutes. 3 minutes and we're going to members. If you want to take a bunch of people hostage, Operation Green Name, you take 13 more people hostage, and then I would have to gift 20. That'd be 33 new members. Thought about merging your Rundown channel in this? I just want to hear your POV. No, I've not thought about that because I can't put that much content here, brother. If I put that much content here, people would unsub. You can't do 1, sometimes 2 live shows a day and an upload, which I already do sometimes, and another upload, and another upload. Sometimes the Rundown gets hit 2 or 3 times in a day. It wouldn't work. Those videos would flounder. It's a different funnel of user. Like the Rundown channel is like quick reactions, quick rundowns, and people that like that, they're gonna sub over there. That wouldn't work on this channel. It would be too much content in one place. I don't understand why Microsoft keeps saying these things. Shelly, it's because they're being compelled to hand over documents. Think about it. The FTC just did a motion to compel. They want their long-term plans for ZeniMax and Call of Duty. And look at what Microsoft's response to the CMA is. They're prepared and ready to defend their plans for Call of Duty, and they're being slow to let them out. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth. Oh yeah, we don't have an incentive to take COD from PlayStation, but 10 years is plenty of time for PlayStation to create a competitor. Why are you saying two things? Hollow Judgment with 9 months and it's a VIP says, keep up the good work. Thank you. All right, I'm going to start gifting my member share. I don't think we're getting... Oh, shoot. I got to open up a browser. I can't piggyback off of anybody. Hang on. I don't want this stream getting longer than 3, and it's going to happen if I don't go now. Membership gifting. All right, here's my first 10. I owe you 15. There's my first 10. I'm going to go create my live stream so I can redirect us. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. Got a short window. If you get a gifted membership right now, you can come with us. We're going to go to members only in just a moment. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right. And here's the 5 that I owe you. Bam. All right. All right, I'm going to set up redirect. All right, I'm going to put a link in chat. If you don't want to do redirect sometimes doesn't work. Click the link in chat. When this video ends, it should bring you over. If you want to keep hanging with us, click the join button, click the $ button. It's $5. Sometimes you get a discount, and you get into all my members-only streams as well as my members-only Discord, all right? So click the link in chat, or you can ride the redirect. Hang on, I got to turn off auto start, or it's not going to let me start this second stream. Come on, button, light up. It's not lighting up. There it goes. All right, here we go. Thank you so much for clicking on this. Another members-only stream. We're probably going to try to get into some trailers this week. New Trailer Tuesdays is typically what we do. Last week we didn't get to. We've been kind of dealing with some of the drama on Twitter. I am going to give you guys a directive today on how to handle some of the drama on Twitter. We're going to sort of handle it. We're going to handle some things maybe privately with some of the organizations and people that have been doing things that are nasty. I am going to end the previous stream and bring everybody over. And that will give people an opportunity to come hang out with us. And we're going to give you guys some instructions on